Hello, my Teaserking family. How are you today? I am fine. I'm hoping you're fine. When you have gold, you're not too worried about the market or anything. So let's see. Just 1 second. All right. So, as always, we start with our gold report. Gold's doing nicely, up $38 today. It just depends which derivative day we're on. Today we're on the up derivative. As you notice, from 2 in the morning, we had no 6 o'clock drop. It went up. We had a tiny 8 o'clock drop, and then 10 o'clock we had very little drop, 24.23 down to 24.15, and then it's pounding back to 24.93 now. Now again, we know these are just derivative prices, but just to keep score, silver 27.48. We know that's a joke, so it's not real. People are trying to influence it because the stock market dropped. That's why silver dropped, and they have no idea. These are derivatives. These are nothing to do with anything. So that's good. Egon's on today. We'll get to that. Let's do baseball now. So we'll go through baseball yesterday. I lose with the Yankees over 8. I had a pretty good day. You lose with the Yanks over 8 in game 1. They win 5-2. Then we got Arizona, which wins 7-3. Okay, San Diego, they get the W. If I can find them. San Diego wins 9-8, winner. Washington over 7.5. And Washington, I'm out of order. Washington loses 7-4, but we don't care. We just want a lot of runs. Toronto over 9.5. Baltimore beat them 7-3. That's a 10. That's a winner. The amazing part, we lost with Atlanta, which had Chris Sale on the mound. They gave up 8 runs. Which is they're not scoring a lot, and it's Chris Sale, and it's 8-5. Like what the hell? Then the Yankees in game 2 of the doubleheader lose 8-2. So that's a winner. We had that over. Just a second. That Daria always has a way to catch me when I'm teaching class or something. Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. So I'm sorry. So we got the Yankees game 2 over 9, and it's 8-2. California wins. So the over does win. Tampa Bay under 7.5. The Cardinals beat them 5-2. Another winner. Boston over 8.5. Kansas City beats them 8-4. Cutter Crawford's just, he's not there anymore. So it's a 12. We have over 8.5. Colorado over 11 to the JETSs, and it's 5-3. That's a loser. Detroit under 6, but it was only 1 unit. And in typical Detroit fashion, they're up 3-2 in the ninth. It's a 5. We're going to win. They score 3 runs in the ninth to go over. It's just typical Tigers, but it was only a 1 unit. Then I got Philly over 9. Philly scores 9 by themselves, beating the Dodgers 9-4. And then I had Oakland after because of the where's that because they were playing the White Sox, and Oakland wins 3-2. So we go 1-1, 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, 4-2, 5-2, 6-2, 7-2, 7-4, 8-4. We go 9-4 yesterday. And again, one of the losses, Detroit, was 1 unit. Most of them are 3 units. Chris Sale, I had as 5 units. So anyway, so that's what's going on there today. Let's see. Earlier, I had the Yankees over, Washington over, and Philly over. Let's see. Milwaukee is 14-4 in the bottom of the 8th, 14-6 in the bottom of the 8th. So we missed that one. The way they're beating Atlanta, so Milwaukee's starting to hit. San Diego 7-5 over Pittsburgh. The Mets 4, Colorado nothing in the first inning. Concluded games. Frisco, Washington are 2-2 in a delay. So I got Washington over here. The Yankees, let's see. Well, let's go through the games. So the Reds, Miami, Hunter Green, 8-4 with a 2.83 against Kyle Tyler, 0-2 with the 5.27. This would be a Cincinnati play, 2 units. So again, I'm noticing like Chris Sale didn't get the win, and some of these, the star Bianco didn't get the win. They're hitting Kershaw. Well, he's not ready. Scherzer, they're hitting. Verlander's out again. So a lot of these pitchers aren't making it. California and the Yankees over 8.5. Tyler Anderson, 8-10 with the 3.05. Dustin Cortez, 5-9 with the 4. So we're going Yankees over 8.5. And that'll be 3 units. Baltimore and Toronto. Baltimore minus 115-9. Dean Kremer, 4-8 with the 4.39. Kevin Gausman, 9-8 with 4. So we're going Baltimore over 9, 3 units. I like this one. Tampa Bay, St. Louis. St. Louis 130-8. Shane Baz, 0-1 with the 3.60. Kyle Gibson, 7-4 with the 4.04. Kind of like this under. I don't know. I don't know how good like St. Louis is. Well, let's look how big their batting average is. St. Louis and Tampa. St. Louis. Let's see. St. Louis. I like my new gig. St. Louis and Holmes 250 with the 3.61, and Tampa Bay on the roads 242 with the 4.06 ERA. So they hit pretty good. So let's go over 8. And we'll go 2 units on that. Detroit at Seattle. I have no pitchers, so it's bullpen day for Detroit, I guess. And I don't know for Seattle. Seattle didn't, 6-2 with Skubal. He gives up a lot of home runs. Detroit gets all these little singles. It's hysterical. And whatever you need, if you need it under, they score. And if you need them to score, they don't. So I'm leaving them alone. Philly at Arizona. So Philly was at LA. Now they're still on the west coast of Arizona. Philly minus 110, 9.5. Colby Allard, 0-0 with a 4.50 against Jordan Montgomery, 7-5 with a 6.37. My God, let's look at Colby Allard. Kobe from Anaheim, California. First round pick of the Atlanta Braves in 2015. A lefty. He's pitched in 2 games, pitched 4 innings, gave up 3 runs against Cleveland, and 1 run in 4 innings doesn't mean anything. So this guy's a 4 inning. So we got to look at the bullpen. So Philly with the 403 bullpen. Arizona's been hitting, so we're going to go over here. We're going to go Philly over 9, and we'll make this 3 units. And that's all we have. I've already played Washington. Oh, okay, I had Philly over there. Okay. And Washington's in the delay. So we got the Yankees over 8.5, 3 units. Cincinnati, 2 units. Baltimore over 9, 3 units. St. Louis over 8, 2 units, and Philly over 9, 3 units. And that's it. We've already got Milwaukee. Oh, it's a touchdown. Milwaukee 14, Atlanta 7, football game. San Diego 7, Pitt 5, and in the 9th. And the JETS, Jets 4, Colorado 0 in the 2nd inning. And I didn't play that one. So the only game now I played is Washington over, which is a rain delay at 2, and then we got the Yanks, Baltimore, St. Louis, Philly over, and Cincinnati. All right, that is baseball. So real good day yesterday after the terrible Sunday-Monday combination. It was terrible, and but now we're better, and things are back. So you're going to have your bad days. And again, we're not betting. We're betting very little on this. All right, let's go to preseason football. And we're just going to look at what's going on here. Let's go through the line. Why aren't they updating the odds? Okay. Kind of weird. So we'll go to covers.com for the odds. Let's go to the NFL. Okay, preseason games. I don't even waste time writing them down, so we're just going to go through them. And I don't know what you're going to do with them, but let's look. Today at 7, we got New England 6.5 over Carolina, over under 35. What are you going to do with that? New England, Drake May, well, we don't want to get him hurt. Brissett, well, somebody better be playing if you want them to be ready for the regular season. So this is where the box scores come in critically. And we'll see. Carolina, I mean, Steve Young's terrible. So if they don't use him, you kind of wonder what are you guys waiting for, right? I mean, he needs work. He sucks. So we will see again. Oh, we don't want to get him hurt. So I don't know. Carolina's terrible, but it's preseason. So just FYI. The Giants, 4 and 35.5, -4, 35.5 to Detroit. God forbid Detroit play any of their players. We don't want to get anybody hurt. I mean, it's really just a sad state of affairs because preseasons you used to play, the first game they'd play their starters, maybe the first and second drive, depending on who. Now they don't play any of the starters. So you're betting backups, which I don't do. So I don't know. Who knows? The Giants suck anyway. So even if they play Daniel Jones, he's like a backup. Pittsburgh and Houston. Houston 2.5 over Pitt, 37.5. I like Pitt here because you've got Russell Wilson, who I don't think is playing, but Fields, I would imagine, is playing. And he's a backup. You don't care if you get him hurt. What are you not going to play him? So I would think Fields plays, which is a huge edge because Houston's probably not going to play Stroud, who do they got as their backup? So I'll take Fields as the backup. Pitt's defense, even if they go to the backups, is still a good defense, and I think you'll still get it. So I think Pitt's a very live home dog here, getting 8.5. Again, I'm not betting any of this. This is just my opinion based on me being the professor. Atlanta, 2.5, 38.5 over Miami. Now, I read that Penix could see some action here, or a lot in the preseason. They're raving how good Cousins is. I'll take Penix any day. He's much better. And, Cousins should get action because they need it. But Penix is the guy. So you're betting Penix here. Tagovailoa probably won't play. Who's their backup? Some other idiot that can't play. So Atlanta's probably a live dog bet, but they're favored by 2.5, 38.5. This could get high scoring because Miami doesn't have a good defense anyway. So I can't imagine their third string defense is any good. And if Atlanta has Penix, he's going to light them up. So I think Atlanta could be a good play here, provided Penix plays a half. Let's see what he does. Philly and Baltimore. Philly -1, 34.5. I was reading on Philly today that Jalen Hurts, that the coordinator and the coach and Hurts were all on different pages last year. I don't know. They were 10-1, and then they fell apart. I think the coach is terrible. Kellen Moore's the offensive coordinator. He's okay. I don't know how good he is. Hey, Real D. Yeah, it was preseason, but yeah, it's coming back. Hi, Real D. Hope you're well and everybody's well. So I'm just going through today's preseason. I think yesterday I went through the college, the updated lines on college. There's a handful of really good games in college starting the 24th, which is like just over 2 weeks away. And then the 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st. So your big games, Georgia, Clemson, West Virginia and Penn State. LSU goes against USC. Notre Dame has A&M. UCLA, Hawaii. Alabama and Western Kentucky. We're curious what kind of team Alabama has now. Michigan gets Fresno. They're going to be in big trouble there because they don't have a team anymore. They're all gone. Coach is gone. Defense is gone. Defensive coordinator. Offensive quarterback's gone. The running back's gone. The whole line's gone. The whole team's different. So we can get 21 points with Fresno State and Mikey King. I'm liking that one. Well, what the fuck, Bryce Young not play tonight, you mean? I doubt it because he might get hurt, even though he's the worst quarterback in the league, but he might get hurt. I don't know. It's like, why isn't Caleb playing? What has Caleb shown you? I mean, did you watch the Notre Dame and UCLA games and you're wondering Caleb should be playing a half in all the preseason games? He's nowhere near ready for professional football. Oh, he looks good in practice. Yeah, where they're wearing T-shirts and shorts and nobody's blitzing them. Yeah, well, me and you would be good in it. So I don't think Bryce Young is playing. I wouldn't take him. Anyway, back to Philadelphia. So they're supposed to be like they're going to play in the preseason to get everything sorted out from all the disaster from last year, losing to Tampa Bay. Really. So I don't know if Jalen Hurts starts or not, but, they got Saquon Barkley, Philadelphia. So that'll be good to balance it, right? And then you've got you got 6 Georgia guys on your defense. How the hell can you have a bad defense? Baltimore always plays well in the preseason. I don't know if Lamar plays, but strong defense, strong running. Although they're leaving, Derrick Henry apparently isn't playing in the preseason. Who cares? He didn't play in the playoff game, did he? He's probably hurt. So, Philly -1, 34 against Baltimore. Probably a maybe a good under bet. I don't know. I am not touching preseason, so please don't listen to me on a few like Pittsburgh with Fields being the quarterback. Okay, let's take him. But how long does he play? Washington against the JETSs. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to play. Washington. Now, here's where you could really get a good advantage is Hartman. Hartman, is going to play a half here. All right. You doubt Jalen Daniels plays. The second teamer, I don't know. I can't remember who it is. But here comes Hartman. You don't think they're going to play him a half? He's the best quarterback, on the team. So if he's out there, they're going to score. So I like Washington here because of Hartman. The Jets, Aaron Rodgers isn't going to play. So we got Washington 2.5, 34.5 to the Jets. And I would think Washington's good because of Hartman. All right, we'll see how long he plays. Chicago, Buffalo, Buffalo 1.5, 39. I think Chicago is favored here initially. Again, no Caleb. Okay, they had that quarterback from last week, Chicago. Buffalo at home. Josh Allen's not going to play. Again, this is a joke. Who knows? Anyway, real deep preseason, so many unknowns. Well, what preseason is you're betting the fourth string. You're betting on the third string quarterback. I mean, you can't do that. I mean, I want to bet on Mahomes. I want to bet on Aaron Rodgers and Joe Burrow. That's why I bet on Kansas City and Cincinnati. But if look what happened with Rodgers last year, right? Rodgers, we're all betting on the Jets week one. We won on a miracle. But then as the season wears on and Rodgers is out, now it's Zach Wilson or it's somebody else, and we don't want to bet them. We're betting under because they got the great defense, but they don't have a quarterback. So that's really what you're doing here is it's almost probably like this game, 1.5, 39.5. It's almost like just bet the under. Who's their quarterback? Oakland and Minnesota, Super Bowl, was Super Bowl 16 or 17. The Raiders -3, 39.5 to Mini. What's Mini going to do? Okay, they should be playing Sam Darnold a half. He sucks. He's got to get comfortable with Jefferson, who probably won't play. Then you've got J.J. McCarthy. I mean, is he going to play? I mean, I don't know what you're doing with these guys. What are you not playing J.J. McCarthy? Why would you not play Caleb or Drake May on New England? These guys need experience. You're afraid to get them hurt? Then don't play football. Don't draft these guys. Let them play tennis. What do you mean they're afraid to get hurt? I mean, Jesus Christ, this is insanity. Oakland lane 3, Oakland, Crosby probably won't play. Brock Bowers, I don't think he'll play. Minshew should play. He's got to get used to the offense, but he probably won't. So it becomes how good's the second string quarterback, but is the second string quarterback playing? So again, it's really ridiculous. Green Bay, Cleveland, 3.5, 20.5. Now 39.5. I don't know what 20.5. It must be first half. 39.5. So 3.5, 39.5. Green Bay. If this is a real game, I would take Green Bay in a heartbeat. Cleveland, strong defense, but is Myles Garrett going to play? Who's their quarterback? Now here's where you could win on Cleveland. They got Watson and Thompson Robinson. So one of them you think's got to play. What are they going back to Joe Flacco and the fourth string quarterback? So, you would think, yeah, you're getting third and fourth string bullshit. But why? Why do you have your fourth string quarterback? They're fighting it out for third string, or we don't care if he gets hurt. That's what you're saying. So I don't know. Not much to take away. Okay, now here's one we could possibly bet. Jacksonville won 40.5 to Kansas City. And we know the way Mahomes is, he does play preseason. Now, he doesn't play a lot. He plays the first couple of series. But you probably will see Mahomes out there, and that'll give him, 1 or 2 touchdowns against this Jacksonville team. again, we've got to look at the backup quarterback. So we'll get the box scores, and then we can get a little bit more focused for next week. This I don't know what they're doing this week. So again, normally Kansas City would be a lock here in the regular season. Mahomes is a dog. 40 is a lot of points. I don't know. And Cincinnati, Tampa Bay, since he's 638.5, is Joe Burrow going to play a little bit? I don't know. I doubt it, but he could. Tampa Bay, Baker's not going to play. Now you're going to see Kyle Trask. That is worth a bet because Kyle Trask can play. He's a very good quarterback, so this would be perfect for him here. And Cincinnati, who are they going to go with? If Burrow and Chase don't play, what are they going to do? They had a pretty good backup last year when Burrow got hurt, but is he still on the team? Tennessee, 5.5, 38.5 to the Niners. Brock Purdy probably won't play. McCaffrey, I know, won't play. Ayuk, they'll probably play him because he doesn't want to play. This will be interesting. And then Tennessee, Tennessee, even if their starter played, he sucks. So I think the Niners are a live dog here in a teaser. Getting 11.5. Yeah, probably a good play because who the fuck's Tennessee got? Will Levis. Who's their backups? I mean, I have no idea. San Diego, Seattle. We got Seattle 3 and 35 to San Diego. I don't know if San Diego has any offense. Harbaugh has ruined the team already. Herbert, I think, is injured, so he's not playing. He'll be ready for the regular season. And then who else you got? You got, again, I don't know. That Stiff guy is the backup. Seattle, I don't know. You don't have Coach Pete anymore. Huge mistake. I don't know what to expect with Seattle. Arizona, New Orleans. Arizona 137 to New Orleans. I kind of like New Orleans with Jake Hayner. He's their backup. He should get playing time. And then Spencer Rattler, who's a superstar all of a sudden. He wasn't good at Oklahoma, wasn't good at South Carolina, but somehow on New Orleans, he's a superstar. Bullshit. Jake Hayner is much better. And I love how they try to sell Rattler. Well, he was a 5-star. He was the best quarterback in the country out of high school. Oh, yeah, if they start playing high schools, let's play him. But he sucked in college, and he shouldn't even make the team here. Hayner's much better. Derek Carr's their starter. Arizona, Kyler Murray, I don't know what they got behind him. They did take Marvin Harrison Jr. is their number 1 pick. Big deal. They had to receive. That wasn't their problem. It's a stupid pick because they scored, right? They didn't have a problem scoring. Their problem is defense. So Arizona, it was like Seattle last year. They added Smith Najimba, who I thought sucked, and they add him. You already have Pickett and you have Metcalf. What the fuck are you funding another receiver for? You can't play all three. You watch. Romo Doozy will do nothing on the Bears. He's going to go to DJ Moore, and he's going to go to my other guy from San Diego. Why would you need a third receiver? You got 2 stars. So what are you thinking? You need defense. You probably need offensive line help. I know you need running back help. What are you doing drafting Romo Doozy? Well, we'll have 3. Yeah, this ain't college, and 3 it does not work in the pros. You've got to get like a Pukanuka, who's a nobody out of UCLA, who's a superstar now, to go with whatchamacallit. I knew his name yesterday. Cooper Kupp. So you got Cooper Kupp and you got Pukanuka. Now, if another guy from Texas Tech turns out to be, Wes Welker, okay, fine. But you don't take a first-round pick to get a receiver. They loaded up on defense because Aaron Jesus Christ, Aaron Donald's gone. My mind. Aaron Donald's gone, and then they replaced them with some nice talent last year and this year, and they got some good running backs that we've never heard of. The real good running back played for Missouri. He's on the Niners. The best running back still at Oklahoma State, Ollie Gordon. The Raiders have a running back from UTSA who's fantastic, but they haven't played him yet. I don't know what they're waiting for. Arizona 137. So I don't know if this is a real game. We'd take New Orleans in a heartbeat. Denver and Indy. Denver's 137.5. Indy, I doubt Richardson playing. Will Bo Nix play? And I would bet he would. I would think he'd play at least part of the first quarter. You got to get him into the action. And then Jared Stidham is the backup. I think he's going to play. Indy, Richardson's hurt. And then who's their backup? I don't know. You got rid of Minshew, who's now on Oakland. So I don't know who your backup is. And I like Denver with Stidham, and you're probably going to play Bo Nix. Dallas and the Rams. Dallas minus 435. Now, Stafford's not going to play. Who's their backup? Dallas, I think their backup's Cooper Rush for Dak. Dak sucks anyway. In the foot, how's his foot? Is it still in the boot or not? Probably still sore. I doubt you'll see him all preseason. Cooper Rush is very good. I like him. Oh, yeah, and maybe that other guy, Trey Lance, maybe he plays a little bit. But we'll see. And then is Pukanuka playing and is Cooper Kupp playing? Probably not a lot. Maybe a little. Maybe the first series. Baltimore and Kansas City. No, that's week one. I was going to say, I thought I already talked Keith. So that's what you have. So we got all the way to August 11th. Today's the 8th. So we got the 8th, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So is it worth a look? Man, to me, I'm going to read the box scores just like I do in college. I watch the big game, and that's about it. But in preseason, I don't want to see the fourth string. Now, as long as we're here, let's go through week one again. KC 46.5 to Baltimore. Mahomes against Lamar. Philly 1.5, 48.5. Jalen Hurts against Love. We'll see how good Love is. Not sure. The Bears 4.5, 43.5. I'm scratching my head that they're favored. Both teams suck. Houston, Indy, Houston 248. I'm scratching my head why Houston's favored. I'm sorry, I don't know that C.J. Stroud's this great quarterback. He went to Ohio State, didn't he? And none of their quarterbacks ever did well. So he rolled around and scrambled around, and it was like playground football. He didn't drop back in the pocket and hit the receiver. He dropped back, and then he rolled to the right. Wasted 4 or 5 seconds to try to find a guy cutting across to get open, and it was a hope and a prayer. Sorry, I'm not sold on it. You show me against the blitz, I'll go to the Baltimore game and say Baltimore 37, Houston 3, or 10 on a punt return. What did he do there? Against a real good defense, he didn't do it. You can't look at him against Indy and Jacksonville and Tennessee and say, wow, look how good he is. 6 of his games were against shit teams. Joe Flacco's Indy's backup. He's like 50 years old. Is Brady coming back? Do we think Brady's coming back? I don't know. He's better than half these guys in the league, I'll tell you that. So Houston 2, Indy, you got Joe Flacco. How long is he? See, the problem is, how long are these guys playing? So you're dealing with the 4th string, at least now, until they make their cuts. But it's only 3 exhibition games. And then for some reason, you have a bye. Nobody's playing. Why do you have a bye? So you guys are totally out of sync for week one, which makes week one extremely difficult to bet. But you go to the Mahomes and you go to the Joe Burrows and you go to the Aaron Rodgers and you're okay. The Niners, the Rams, the cream of the crop. So I don't know. Oh, wait, that's regular season. So regular season, I can't buy Houston as a road favorite. Buffalo, 6.5, 48. Arizona, no defense. I'm not sure what Buffalo has. Josh Allen against Kyler Murray. And Buffalo, usually Does very well at home. Arizona, are they a live dog? I don't know yet. We'll have to see week 1. And probably a high scoring game because even if it's week 10, Arizona doesn't have a defense. Cincinnati 42.5 to New England. This is all week 1. Joe Burrow is pissed. He got hurt. And wait till he plays Baltimore. We are unloading on Cincinnati over Baltimore because it was a cheap shot by Baltimore. So look for that. New England. Who are they starting? They're starting Brissett. Yeah. How quickly are they going to go to Drake May? Like, not at all. You just got to go with Joe Burrow. I mean, Jesus, superstar. Atlanta, 2.5, 42.5, 43 to Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh's extremely live dog. Kirk Cousins, forget about it. Russell Wilson's much better than Kirk Cousins. Fields, I don't know. What's he going to just come in and run the ball? I mean, is this what the new NFL is? We get these guys who can't throw but can run, and we know that doesn't work. Atlanta, they ain't going to win with Kirk Cousins. But Penix, if Penix is starting, I would really think twice. But with Kirk Cousins, it's a doggy play there. New Orleans, 40.5 to Carolina. Carolina is the worst team. I don't think they could win a game in the SEC. New Orleans getting better. Olave, Kamara, and Derek Carr or Hainer is a good backup. Very good defense. Their problems, their coach sucks, but we will see. So definitely not taking Carolina this year. Miami, 3.5, 49 to Jacksonville. What can I say? This will be over by halftime. Miami, strong offense, no defense. Jacksonville, I don't know what they are. Pretty decent offense, average defense. This is the strange one. Minnesota -1, the Giants -1, depending on what book you go to. Over under everywhere is 41.5. I have no idea. You got Daniel Jones, who absolutely sucks. You've lost Barkley. You don't have much defense, and your number 1 pick is a wide receiver. What the fuck are you doing there? See, that's a wasted pick. You need defense. You lost Barkley. Then what are you doing? You needed a quarterback, and you made a huge mistake on Daniel Jones. Minnesota, Sam Darnold, really? He's a high school quarterback. He ain't no pro quarterback. Then you draft J.J. McCarthy instead of Hartman. Are you kidding me? He sucks. So I don't know where you're going to get points from either of these teams this year. Denver, Seattle, no Coach Pete. Can't believe it. Seattle -4.5, 5.5. Over under 42.5. It's a little early for Bo Nix, but we'll see. We'll see how much he plays in the preseason. I think you'd see him a little bit tonight. He should certainly start and play at least 3 or 4 series is what I would do. Let him get the timing of the game and let him get the timing of his receivers and get out there in the huddle and play. Seattle, we know they can score. They're loaded on offense except for their quarterback. Geno Smith sucks, but we love Lockett, we love Metcalf, and we love the kid Charbonnet from UCLA, and we love Walker out of Michigan State. So those are great players. Their defense is questionable. Denver, we have no idea because they've reshuffled the deck. Bo Nix, Austin, the running back from Notre Dame, who's big power back. So that'll be good inside the 10-yard line. They'll run Austin. They'll get touchdowns. We don't know anything about Denver's defense. They ended up pretty bad. Pretty good. They gave up that 70 to Miami, which I thought was terrible. They ran it up. But after that, they were like a 22 defense. They got mad. I'm sure Sean Payton got mad. So we'll see. He's got Bo Nix. Austin should have some good receivers, and then let's see the defense. So I keep expecting a New Orleans playoff team with Sean Payton because now he's got his Bo Nix as his Drew Brees. San Diego, Oakland. We got San Diego 342.5. Herbert's hurt, but I'm sure by then he'll play. Minshew for the Raiders, Brock Bauer for the Raiders, and their great defensive lineman, that Crosby. San Diego got Boza, got Khalil Mack. They got Herbert. They got no receivers. They got no tight end, and they have Joshua Kelly as their running back. This is going to be an under team, I think. I don't know what Harbaugh's doing. Dallas and Cleveland. Cleveland 1.5, 44. I don't know. Is it Deshaun Watson? Is it Thompson Robinson from UCLA? Probably Deshaun against Dak Prescott. If it's Deshaun and Prescott, both quarterbacks suck. We'll see what happens there. So you're keeping an eye on injuries. Like, we know how we would bet week 1 now, but we got to see the injuries. Tampa Bay, Washington. Tampa Bay 441.5 to Washington. Jalen Daniels should be the starter against against the Baker. The Baker making cupcakes. I don't know. We got to see what Daniels is all about, what their defense, who their coach is. Tampa Bay, they got a terrible coach. Baker, they got Evans is good. The running back, I think they need help there. Defensively, Larry David and my guy from Minnesota, Winfield Jr. is very good. So you don't know how good Daniels is going to be right away. You know he's going to be good, but you don't know right away. They kind of wish they were playing Mississippi State, not Tampa Bay week 1. Detroit and LA Rams. Detroit 3.5. So this is why I call San Diego, and Oakland. We know who they are. LA, if you were to say LA, is it the Chargers or the Rams? But if I call the Chargers San Diego and the Raiders Oakland, then everybody knows who I'm talking about. Detroit 3.5, 51. Probably high scoring. Detroit, very good offense and no defense. The Rams, pretty good defense, really good offense. They'll take advantage of the Lions' really weak secondary and really weak defensive coordinator. And I think between Cooper Kupp and Pukanuka, they're going to have 25 catches for 300 yards. It's going to be pretty scary. And Monday night, the Niners laying 5 to Aaron Rodgers, 44.5. That's a lot of points to give Aaron Rodgers. 5, you get 11 points with Aaron Rodgers and that defense. Whew, we will see. Browns in Dallas, I love under 2 top defense. Well, and no quarterback, right? Who's their quarterback going to be? So part of betting under is the quarterback. So if you got really weak quarterbacks like Dak Prescott, Deshaun Watson, how are you going to get the points? So you're not going to get any points. And then, as you say, you got Micah Parsons, the best player in the field, and you got the that I just said, the defensive end for Cleveland, which I don't know why I have trouble with this guy's name. I finally get his name, and then I forget it. But those are the best. Parsons is number 1, and this defensive end's number 2. And they'll dominate the game. So Cleveland will struggle. They want to run Chubb. Parsons will be all over them. I don't know what Prescott are they going to really run. Ezekiel Elliott, he's like 90 years old now. And it's just cover CeeDee Lamb. But I agree with you on the defenses are very strong. Myles Garrett, yes. Yeah, we both get it wrong. It's Myles Garrett. And I don't know why I know the name when I hear it. But when I'm off thinking, I'm like, I know what it is, but I can't think of it. I do that with Keenan Allen. I forget his name a lot. I know he's on I said the San Diego. I know Keenan Allen, but sometimes when I'm trying to think of it, I can't think of it. But when I don't try to think of it, like now, I got Keenan Allen. But yeah, Myles Garrett, he'll just dominate, and Micah Parsons will just down. So when your best players are your defensive players, yes, you would think low scoring. But then when you don't have a quarterback on either team, How many turnovers does Prescott? The only way you lose the under is if Prescott throws the 3 interceptions for pick sixes. Like Cleveland played Baltimore a year or two ago, and I had the under locked. It was like under, it's probably a 42. I'm under 48. They played a 33-31 game because there was all these pick sixes. Lamar, I think, threw 3 interceptions, and that's how Baltimore loses when you let him play quarterback. But that's what it was. The Browns hired Mike. The Browns hired Mike Vrabel as defensive coordinator. Yeah, that's a very good hire. Why did Tennessee let him go? You think the coach they got's better? He's probably an offensive coach, and all these GMs are going to the what's the guy, the McShay or the 49er guy, Tree. Like Green Bay got the guy. I think he was with McVay or the Shanahan guy. Well, Shanahan's a choke. I mean, he's lost 2 Super Bowls with 10-point leads in them. He's a choke. Sean McVay, I like him. I don't like the Buffalo coach. He's a choke. Andy Reid, I don't like him. It's just you got Mahomes. So really Mahomes is the coach. And then you have whatchamacallit is your defensive coach there. God, I'm naming myself. But absolutely. Yeah, look for the Browns. They're in a tough division because they got Joe Burrow in Cincinnati. He's mighty. I don't think he can stop chasing Burrow. And you got Pittsburgh, who, if Russell Wilson plays like Russell Wilson, and they got the defense, J.J. Watt. And then, by the way, there's Baltimore, who has a good defense. Their problem is Lamar. And they're sold that Lamar is good, which I don't know why. The only reason he won a playoff game last year is because they were playing Houston. As soon as they got in against a good team, KC, bye-bye. KC crushed him. So that's your problem with Lamar. He's not a good quarterback. He's a good running back. He's a good athlete. Nobody's denying that. He's not. I'm not betting him in the playoffs. I took Mahomes and we made money, and that's what I'm looking at, right? It's making money, not I like or dislike Lamar. Really, Baltimore Ravens worry me because their old line is a bunch of new guys. Well, I don't like the quarterback, the coach. You got Lamar, which bothers me. Potential spam. I don't want to listen to potential spam. So you've got, yeah, I mean, that always affects you, the offensive line. Lamar lost weight for some reason. Speed with Lamar was not the issue. Is he can't hit the broadside of a barn. That's the issue with Lamar. But you just you stick with Mahomes, you stick with Burrow, and let's look at Aaron Rodgers with that defense. Hopefully Aaron Rodgers stays healthy. With that defense, the Jets, they'll beat Buffalo and Miami, no problem. And they'll have a good time with Cincinnati and Kansas City. That'll be very interesting. Oakland got Brock Bowers, and they got, Minshew's okay. He's not star, but he's good quarterback. And I don't buy Richardson. The owner's trying to explain why he drafted Richardson. Well, because he's a threat running the ball. So is Lamar, but how does he do? So Richardson's not going to do anything. C.J. Stroud's way overrated. It's like the Lions. They beat the shit teams. So when you're beating the shit teams, when you look at Ohio State beating Oregon, are you going to be all excited about Ohio State beating Akron? The Akron Open. I mean, that's the problem. The Lions beat a bunch of shit teams last year, so you're all excited about it. Now they're going to play real teams, and they're going to win. Now, if they can beat the real teams, then yes, the Lions are good. But they didn't beat anybody. The win against the Rams was a fluke. Kansas City was a joke because Kelsey didn't play, and Their defensive tackle didn't play. The two all pros, and they got killed by Baltimore, lost to Seattle, Green Bay, and Chicago. So don't tell me they're any good. And Dallas with Dak Prescott. So against good teams, good defenses, the Lions don't show up. They didn't show up again. They were there for the Niners. They should have won, but they got out-coached because their coach is a moron. And I love when people try to defend, he's aggressive. No, there's a time to be aggressive, and there's a time not to be aggressive. And when you're in the game for the Super Bowl, you must play it close to the vest, and you must be smart, and you must realize who you're playing against and what garbage you have on your team. So you can't give up momentum like that. Anyway, but that's what we'll see. So you've got to see them in big games. C.J. Stroud against Baltimore didn't show up. It was 38-3. I mean, they got a punt return, so 10, but really Stroud did nothing. That's my point. Against a good team in a playoff game, he doesn't show up. Beating Jacksonville and Indy, I don't count. And I don't think he beat any really good teams. I know he lost to Carolina on the road. That's really impressive. That's what I take out of it. Fuck, the guy lost at Carolina. Carolina didn't beat anybody, and he couldn't beat Carolina, and you want to make him a star? Really? No. So that's what you see. You see him against the good teams. But again, that's the same thing with the college teams. You got to really see who they beat. That's why I didn't like Michigan. They didn't play anybody the whole year, and the Ohio State quarterback was so weak, beating them didn't show anything. This year, Michigan's in big trouble. Fresno State, Texas, USC in September. And then, by the way, here comes Oregon, Ohio State, Michigan State, who's much better with the Oregon State coach. I don't think they get Penn State. I think there's 7 games they got so that was 6 of them. But they're in big trouble because last year they played nobody. So I think Texas gets them, and I think USC, but Fresno State could get them, and then Michigan State could get them, and then Ohio State and Oregon. Oregon for sure, and Ohio State is just blood in the eyes. They lost to Michigan 3 years in a row. And that's why Chip Kelly's there, because he's if they lose again, he's going to be the new coach. Anyway, yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing, the O-line. I don't like Harbaugh. I don't like either Harbaugh, really. All right. So let's see what else. So that's football. Again, so baseball we did. The Yankees over 8.5. Cincinnati for 2. Baltimore over 9. St. Louis over 8. Philly over 9. A much better day yesterday. It was more normal, the way I normally pick. Let's see. So we've talked gold. We're going to go to Egon soon. Let's keep going with football. So again, like this weekend, we're going to look at box scores. We're looking for new guys. We're looking for how they play in the preseason, but I can't see betting preseason unless it's like, it's going to be between, Russell Wilson and Fields. Then we can bet, because you got one for a quarter, you got another one for a quarter or two. So you're going to have the good quarterbacks in, but Russell Wilson's not playing. And then we got Penix. How long is Penix going to play? How about the others? McCarthy and Drake May. Well, they suck anyway. Caleb, what the fuck are you waiting for with him? You're just going to put him in the game with no real experience, and he's just going to thrive, just like you did at USC. Okay, good luck there. So really, you want to get a feel for it. It's hard to watch preseason. It's so sloppy, and you don't know any of the players. Maybe you know the starters for 2 series or something. So we will see. Back to gold. So we know it's just a derivative game. If you have any other football, please ask. Gold 24-24, performing nicely today. And silver 27-48. So 24-24 gold, up 40. So it's just a big game, right? It goes down to 23.80. It's just the derivatives. They're trying to get out of their derivatives. Why aren't they buying? Because all the central banks are buying gold. So all the demand is on gold. There's no supply left except what the guy has at his store. What the fuck are you doing? Shorting a market that you should be, you know what it's like? It's like in The Gambler with James Caan, and they fixed the game, and they have the guy, you can win, but not by no more than 6. The spread was 7 or something like that. Had they just let the guy play, they'd have won by 20 points because they couldn't. He's like tripping all over himself to not score. They couldn't guard him. That play should have been go. You got to win by more than 8, and they'd have won by 25. I think that's a better way than saying, well, the spread's 7, don't win by more than 6. That's a problem. Take the better way. Let the guys score. They can't guard them. Let them get 8 points. So, went to the gold store. Just a second, everybody. Sorry. I'm so excited when I hear Daria. So about my job, I didn't get my job. I'm furious. So I interviewed with the manager on Friday for it's a contract to hire position at DTE Energy, a utility. And the guy calls me on Monday. Oh, everything's great. The manager liked you, and yeah, we'll work on the rate, and you want vacation, and you start in 2 weeks. So I'm like, oh, great, I got the job. That's what I'm hearing, right? She liked me. It's a contract job at Harley or Mercedes. The manager met you, they liked you, you got hired. So I'm thinking, oh, okay, good, I got it. Well, wait, they want to, so the next day, well, they want the team to meet you. Okay, I don't know why, but fine. I can say hi to the team. So I meet the team. They want to, well, tell them, why don't you walk me through your resume? Well, you can't fucking read the resume. I worked at Mercedes. I worked at GM. I worked at Ford. I worked at Harley. I had that stupid job at the tool house, and I worked at AAA, which sucked. But okay, here's what you can't read. What do you want me to say about it? Why don't you just ask me pertinent questions? So I go through that. It's a half hour interview with one guy who's just sits there and doesn't smile, no personality. And then one girl, she's asking me about Excel, high level Excel. Yes, I do. Pivot tables, VLOOKUPs, what can handle a large amount of data? Yeah, if it's 500 rows or 5 million rows, that's your range. So you just range the whole data. Like, duh, why is that a hard thing? Now, if you'd see my resume, you'd see 4 years of Mercedes. That should be it. I got a master's, 4 years of Mercedes, half a year at Harley recently, a couple times at GM and Ford. What's the problem? So, didn't understand it. Uh, but they didn't smile. It was a really weird interview, half hour. So I went through everything. And the problem was, I said to the boss, I said, "Oh, thank you for hiring me. I'm really happy to be part of your team." Only she didn't hire me yet. Uh, all right. Well, the problem was when the recruiter called me on Monday, it was, "Oh, she loved you." And we started talking salary and get the drug test and when can you start. So I'm under the impression I have the job, right? That's the problem. So when the interview went, I was all excited to the manager. "Oh, thank you. I'm so happy that you chose me." She's looking at me like I'm nuts. So I don't know if that cost me the job or not. Um, and then when I met with the staff, there was two controllers and an analyst, and the guy's just real stern. And like I'm thinking to myself, okay, you're the boss, and the boss likes me, and you got these three people under you, and I don't know what they just, it wasn't a good fit's what they said. You talked to me for 30 minutes, and I can't be like this because you're asking me questions direct to my resume. And I'm telling you, well, I worked at AAA and it kind of sucked. I didn't say that, but that was it. And I worked at Mercedes and I worked at Harley. Like, what exactly are you looking? What do you mean doesn't fit? And then they asked me if I ever used SQL before, which is a query writer. And I said, no, but I've used other queries and I do a lot of queries in Excel, but I understand it's basically here's green, yellow, blue, and red in the data, and you write a query, go to that table and give me the greens. I mean, that's all it is, basic bullshit stuff. I mean, it'll take me 10 minutes to learn it, and I'm on YouTube looking at it. So I'm like, what do you mean don't fill? What did we talk about for 30 minutes that you could possibly uh, get a line on me? So I was really mad at the recruiter for misleading me that I already had the job. Um, he seems like an idiot anyway. And then he didn't call me today to tell me I didn't get it. He said, well, yeah, they called me at 8 o'clock last night and it's noon. And I'm like, well, what are you waiting for? Why didn't you call me to say I didn't get it? So in other words, if you got it, I'll call you. If you didn't get it, then fuck off and I won't call you, which I hate. So unprofessional. So I don't want to deal with these idiots anymore anyway. So if they call me back, I'm just not going to respond. I've been submitted to Harley again, and we'll see. And otherwise, we got football coming up. I got the trust coming up, and we got gold about to go to the moon. So I'm fairly protected. You know, I tell you, I don't know if I have much left anyway to work. I mean, I love doing this and the economics, but to go into an office and do bullshit, I'm getting too old for it. I don't really care, and I know gold's going to go up, so I'm like, oh, I'm going to retire soon anyway. I'm kind of half retired, and we'll see what the trust from my mother is. I don't know. Um, I'm just hoping for 5 grand, but I got to think it'll be a lot more. She had life insurance. The father-in-law, stepfather had life insurance. She sold her house. So we shall see what kind of money there is. But I would think if you're doing a trust and you need the accountants to look at it, it's not $5,000, right? So we'll see about that. But thanks, Real D. Yeah, I'm very frustrated, but I went to the pool and hot tubbed it and just kind of trying to relax. I don't know. I can't get this is like the third or fourth time I've had an interview and I didn't get the job, and I'm like losing my mind. I got a feeling it's my age, or maybe certain other things that is preventing me from getting it. Maybe it's a political thing or I don't know what it is, but it's very strange because if I interviewed, I got the job because they like me and I got a fucking master's. What do you mean I'm not a fit for what? What are you doing there? And I'll tell you, most financial people don't know what SQL is because it's an IT people. So IT people would, like a business analyst would use it, but a technical, like a financial guy, you go into SAP, you dump it into Excel, and then you go to work on it. You do pivot tables, you do VLOOKUPs, you do sum ifs, whatever you need to do it. That's what a normal finance guy does because you're pulling the ledger to analyze a cost center and an account. And so you're pivoting, you're doing a pivot table to see it. And if you're making a spreadsheet out of it, you're then doing a sum if in, and your primary key is the PO number or something. So pretty frustrated there. And really the only reason I'm frustrated is I want to buy more gold, right? I know what's going to happen. I only want to work so I can buy gold. So to calm down and get happy, I bought this 1/10 of an ounce. It cost me $277. And the ironic part, this is a 1/10 of an ounce Eagle, right? US. And the ironic part was the maple leaf all of a sudden is the same price, which I said to the guy, that's unusual. Normally this is worth more than the maple leaf. It is in the 1 ounce. The 1 ounce Eagle is 1520, and the 1 ounce maple leaf was 1502. So again, not sure the difference there, but in the 1/10 of an ounce, they used to be $10, $20 different, are now the same. So I said, well, give me the Eagle then. If the Eagle and the maple leaf are the same price, I'll take the Eagle. If I can save $20, I'll take the maple leaf because gold is gold and nobody cares who's on the front of it as much as they care that it's a 1 ounce gold. So this is a 1/10 of an ounce gold. And then with silver so cheap, I got 5 ounces of silver. They had the nice buffaloes in. So not working, I got a little, these were $29.50. So silver's at 27, so it was like a $2 premium. So I got these 5 for $29.50, which I was very happy to get 5 more, but I'd rather get the 1/10 of an ounce gold than this was $270 than 10 more silver. That's the difference. Who's texting me? See, what is this bullshit? So this is a text. For whom do you plan to vote for president in November? What the fuck? I don't this is so I go and hit the block number, like, none of your business. I'm not gonna be in a poll. And for me, it would be other, and I'd vote for myself. I'd write in Steve Garvey. All right, so that was my afternoon after swim. I was really frustrated and kind of depressed. Like, the fuck, this is like the third time I can't get hired. And, I've had some interview. I get the interview and then I go interview and I can't figure it out. I mean, this has never happened to me before, but I think it's these younger kids. I think they get intimidated by me about, like, I'm trying to take their job. Like, if it's a like, a finance manager, they're worried I'm going to take their job. I don't give a fuck about your job. All I want is gold. All I want to do is go buy more of this. So give me a fucking paycheck. So that's kind of frustrating. But we got football coming up, and I think with the class and the regular people that buy in the picks, I should be able to be fine for football season. So keep that in mind. You've got to buy the picks. You either come to class, $25 pro, 25 college each week, or just go buy the picks the way you normally do. But when I just do this type of class, I'm reading in the lines and a little quarterbacks and defense, but we're not really getting into. I'm not giving the picks out or things like that. So if you ask me who do I like in the LSU USC game, I'm going to say, well, you'll have to go to class to see that. But I'll go through the teams a little bit. All right, so I bought the gold and silver, so I'm a happy camper. Let's go to Egon. So we're talking economics now, but if you have any football, feel free. So we looked at this yesterday. Warren Buffett sold 75 billion in stocks, which of course is going to knock the stocks down. Now, the funny part is the stock market's kind of back up to where it was or very close to it. It's all bullshit. It's them trying to make the stock market look good for the election. So even though we know it fell down 1,000, they're trying to blame it. I love how they try to explain it. Well, it's the Japanese who are doing it. And you're like, bullshit. Well, the Japanese raised their rates 0.1% or 0.25%. Why would that make the market crash? What does that got to do with anything? How much are we in Japan, really? But the Chinese crashes and all their banks crashing and everything else that I show you, but that's not, we don't want to sell the stocks for that, which is a much better reason. Okay, Egon, nowhere to run. Gold and
welcome everyone to another chat.
So I'm gonna break it as they hit a topic and explain. Matt doesn't know what he's talking about. He just repeats a lot. He's useless and worthless. I'm not sure what he's doing on here. He kind of repeats what Egon says. Egon, we know, we like. So we'll talk about that. But I will play the whole thing. But Matt, maybe I won't do Matt's beginning because he's so stupid. He doesn't help us in any way.
Gold Matters chat between Matt Eichenberg and myself. Matt's certainly seeing real spectacles happening on markets today. And to us, nothing of this is surprising, of course. We've been looking at risks for years, and this is now, we are at a maximum risk, and therefore anything can happen in any market at any time. Only a fool tries to forecast exactly the timing of risk. Much more important to just be prepared and protect against this risk. The stock market, to me, has been obvious. They're overbought and they're overvalued, all due to printed money, and therefore people believe that forests grow or trees grow to heaven, but they don't. And at some point,
see how Egon gets it? It's all printed money. That's inflation. He doesn't call it inflation. Sometimes he does, but that's the point, right? It's all this inflation. And this is the problem with it. And that's why the markets crash. That's why gold goes to the moon. But we understand that, see, that's the critical point. It's not prices going up. It's the inflation. And we understand the inflation, so we know what to do with it, right? The water's coming in the boat. We got to get off the fucking boat. It's going to sink. We don't wait till the boat sinks to now say, oh shit, we got to get off. We get off before. And that's really the difference. So here, you understand that they all print money because they have no choice. They got to cover their costs. So it's like you own a credit card bill, right? So you owe $2,000. So what do? Well, I'll print money to pay it. But if I print the money's worth less and less and less. Eventually, it won't be worth anything. But we understand that, and the governments don't, because they don't have Austrians in charge. They have the Keynesian MMT people like Jim Rickards, who says, well, print, print, print. And it's disastrous. And that's why the governments go out. It's who's calling the shots don't understand what the fuck they're doing. That's the biggest problem. All right.
It ends, and people should be prepared for it rather than buy the next dip, in my view. Debt markets are the same. And obviously the consequence of all of what's happening now, and we mustn't forget also the political scene. What's happening now around the world was happening, first of all, the wars. They're part of this pattern also. Debts and wars go together. And of course, the riots in the UK. I mean, I've been forecasting these riots for around the world, especially the fights between neo-Nazis or Nazis or extreme right wing people. A lot of them are, of course, hooligans, if you want. They just want to fight. And then on the other hand, the immigrants. That is something that is going to happen in many countries. I know politicians hate anybody forecasting this, as Musk has and others. But it's an obvious consequence also of the area we're in. But we are here not to really help people on the political side, just to warn them of all the risks that we're seeing. And of course, the first thing is market risks. So, can you just explain to people what has happened now in the last few days? Why all of a sudden did all of this trigger?
Yeah, I mean, to your point, Egon, there's so many issues at play.
So this guy doesn't know.
It's a wonderful model as long as two very dangerous assumptions stay the same. Sure, it's just another example of quote-unquote the smartest guys in the room and these shadow banks and hedge funds, just basically drunk driving with huge leverage and massive risk. And again, we saw the consequences immediately this week. They kind of volatilized back up. The other big thing was, of course, we can't deny it, Bitcoin took a massive bath as well. And that's supposed to be a quote-unquote store of value, but the volatility in there is clearly evident.
Who says it's a store of value? Apparently only Matt, because I don't know who the fuck's. If it's not backed by gold, it isn't a store of value. It's not limited at 21 million as a store. Why does he even bring up Bitcoin? What does that got to do with gold? So this is, again, this guy's doesn't know what he's saying.
For me, Matt, having enter the gold market in a major way for ourselves and our investors that we advised at the time. In 2002, we started really investing heavily into gold.
Should have been 1971,
all
Egon.
along. It's such an easy equation. We know that throughout history, central banks and governments have destroyed the currency, and every single currency has gone to zero. So, and now when debt levels are more elevated than ever in history, it was obvious that gold was going to be the best instrument to protect against that risk long term. Now, gold doesn't move up in a straight line, and we've seen big moves to 2011, and then we see consolidation for 5, 6, 7 years, and now the next move has started only because global debt is now at a level which is unprecedented in the world. The U.S.
So Egon's showing he doesn't get it. Okay, comex has been derivative run for years, since 1975 or something like that. So this is not free market. So he says, well, gold's ready to move. Gold will go through the roof once you get rid of the derivatives. So Egon doesn't quite get that it's been price fixed. The market doesn't price gold. The banks price gold, and the governments. It's communism. It's not a market price. It's a government/bank who is the government price. So he hasn't figured that part out yet. So we're hoping to get rid of it, and then it goes. So the fact it's this high under trying to be price fixed is amazing, but really they're just playing derivatives. I'll short it when it's low, and I'll buy it when it's high. I'll sell low and buy. I'll sell high. Excuse me. I'll sell high, buy low, and now they're buying low and watching it go up. And this is insanity already. How much more can they short it is the question. Because once they stop shorting it, it's 3,500 if it's a nickel, but the demand's there. It'll keep going up. So he doesn't understand the mechanism yet, which is surprising because, he thinks it's wealth preservation. It's not. It should go through the moon also. So he doesn't quite get that.
Debt now is, for example, 35 trillion. It wasn't many years ago when it was when Trump took over. It was 20 trillion when Trump took over as president. Now it's 35. It's growing exponentially, and with the deficits that we're seeing in the U.S. and in many other countries, and including Japan, of course, as we just discussed, and China, enormous debts. It's obvious that this is now going to accelerate because U.S. Deficits are forecast to increase dramatically, and that doesn't take into account all the risks within the banking system or within the financial system and within the corporate system. So I think the money printing will be much bigger than anybody expects. And therefore also I think long-term interest rates are in an uptrend, although there might be a short-term cut by the Fed, panic cut or not. Well, let's see. So all of these factors point to gold just reflecting the destruction of the money. Now, the forces also that are into gold, and I think you'll talk more about that later, one of them, which is obviously very, very important, is how central banks are converting their reserve assets from dollars to gold. So we are not just going to see gold reflect the continued debasement of the dollar and all the other currencies. We are also going to see gold as an investment enhancing with enhanced returns by actually performing better than just the destruction of paper money. And remember, there's no gold in the world. There's only 3,000 to 3,500 tons mined every year. And if you take China and central banks buying just in the last year, they bought for 3,000 tons. So, which means that there's not enough for the rest of the world. And the rest of the world is going to, coming back to your question, it's going to discover gold now in a major way because there's nowhere to run. And I've put out some tweets this week showing that I expect the NASDAQ to go down 95% against gold in the next few years, because you have a tech bubble and you have gold being unloved and undervalued, and nobody owns gold, nobody. But yeah, there will be a shift into gold, and it doesn't have to be a major shift at all for gold to move because of the major shortages of gold in relation to the demand that we will see. And those shortages can only be reflected in price, i.e. the price will go up, not by marginal amounts, but by factors of 2, 3, 4, 5 or more times. And that's what I expect in the next few years. So and that will be starting now, and don't believe that this little pause in stock markets and the gold and silver means anything. The next trend is going to continue strongly, down asset markets, up precious metals. But there are other factors also, Matt, that you're seeing that will affect this. Let's just hear your view on those.
Well, they're very
So what he's saying is, you're in this or you're in this, but you want to get out of it because you realize they're worthless, right? So everybody's starting to realize that. So I want to trade this for this. And that's the point. So central banks are getting out of this because they don't want to hold it. They don't want to get sanctioned, and they know this is going to zero. So they're buying this. So that's all they're doing is selling this to buy this. Right? That's the point of it. So what you're looking at is what you're looking at is that's what all the BRICS countries, central banks are accumulating this, but to pay for it, they're getting out of this while they still can, but it's not going to be easy because the price is going to go up because as demand goes up, and that's where comex needs to be blown up because it's giving a false price. So I don't know why they care if it's still low or just derivatives, but they're giving a false price. That is not the price of gold, is not 24.30 or whatever we saw at the beginning of the show. Once they get out of that, they'll realize, oh wait, that's the problem. And gold will go up because there's not, again, it goes up because it's limited and they can't print it. You can't print this to more. That's all there is. So I go buy it. It's another 1/10 of an ounce off the market, another ounce off the market, another 2 ounces off the market. And the more of this I do, the more it, the more this goes up because there's no more supply coming. When supply ends, I want gold. Well, we're out. And then, as you realize that this is gone 99% or 99.5%, once you realize this, then I want this. And then as the lights start coming on and people start realizing, oh shit, I need this, but I can't get it, there goes the price. Just like Luke's thing. Now the silver, what'll happen is this goes to, let's say, 5,000 an ounce. I can afford an ounce, but that's it. Oh, I'm going to start buying this. And then this is going to run out. It's not unlimited. There's a finite amount of silver, and you need it for these car batteries and solar panels. So between that and this being money, then you're going to run out, and then it'll be the same thing. I need silver. I don't have any. And then you'll realize, oh, I'll pay more for it. Oh, it is money. I can use it as money. Oh, okay. Not really. I don't buy this barter, and everybody's running to get pre-1964 halves, quarters, and dimes. I'm like, I don't think so. Because whoever's taking it as barter will need halves, quarters, and dimes. And we'll need to know what the price is. So I don't buy that. That's what Egon's saying. People will get out of their dollars and like do what the central banks are. All right, let's listen to this idiot man.
It's interesting. You and I always joke that we're no fun at a cocktail party for the last few years.
You're no fun here either.
Making a toast and talking about buying gold. We've been telling our clients, and our clients have been getting this for years. It's not sensational, it's reality. Be very wary of currency destruction, market risk, banking risk, etc. And what's interesting now, and we've been calmly saying this, and it's not sensational, it's not doom and gloom, it's common sense and math. And yet now the world is actually catching on to what our clients have known for decades. And that's very interesting to see these forces in play, because look at what the world is doing, not what the politics and consensus media is saying. And again, these are very, very clear and convincing signs. As you talked about, Eastern central banks in particular stacking gold at record levels for a reason, and they're dumping U.S. treasuries at record levels for a reason, because they no longer trust a weaponized world reserve currency that can be taken at will, and that basically is losing its value. So just the actions of Eastern central banks should be clear and convincing. You also have more than 47 nations now trading outside the U.S. dollar. That's slow and steady. That's not overnight. We talked about the risks of weaponizing the dollar 2 years ago, and that's happening even faster than we thought. We're looking at an oil trade now that's being increasingly sold outside of the petrodollar. We're seeing Russia and China making oil deals outside of the U.S. dollar, and that's settling in gold. What's interesting and also off the radar for the last year and a half, no one's talking about this openly, is that over 30 countries are repatriating their gold out of the COMEX and New York Exchange and the London Exchange. They want their tier one asset at home. They don't want it in these Western exchanges.
So what repatriating means is, if China has gold at your Fort Knox, they say, you know what, I want it in China. So repatriating is, give me my gold that you're holding and bring it, let me have it. And Germany did that, and some African countries did that. India did that. They're all realizing, I want my gold. I'll keep my gold. It was all done because of Hitler, and he was taking everybody's gold, so they started moving it to New York. But now you can't trust them. Who knows if there's any gold there or not, or they melt it down. So that's what they're doing. So they see the U.S. They don't trust the U.S. They don't want to be. Look at Russia. They got sanctioned, and they're $300 billion. They're just losing. So what is the U.S. doing? I mean, they're going broke, so they're just trying to steal money from everybody because they're idiots. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know you can't print anymore. Oh, we'll run the debt up to 50 trillion. Who cares? Well, I don't want to be here when it's like that. We'll be in big trouble. All right.
Because they don't trust the U.S. dollar or the U.S. or British LBMA banks, etc. They wanted it home. Another sign of distrust. Another open and obvious sign of the new direction of where the hockey puck or the polo ball is headed is that the BIS just last year made gold a tier one asset alongside that one sacred cow, the U.S. Treasury. That's a massive, massive.
Okay, but we already know that. We've heard it like a year ago that's what happened. So why all he does is repeat himself. He repeats what Egon says, and he tells you stuff that we already know. We know it's Basel III compliant, and it's tier one. We've known that for a year and a half, since 2023. What are you talking? He's like that other guy I talk, Andy Scheckman. He just talks, but he doesn't say anything.
Headline. Right. And yet very few people understand. Look what the banks are doing. Look what the world is doing. They're not replacing the dollar, they're repricing it. They're going away from it. Even the IMF, which used COVID hysteria as an excuse or pretext to talk about central bank digital currencies, are already saying it has to be pegged to gold to have any credibility. So again, there's massive moves in the world that are saying what we've been telling our clients: store value. Your store of value is not a dollar or a peso or a franc or a euro or a yen. It's gold. You save your money in precious metals. When you need liquidity, you can convert it to a currency. That's what we do for our clients, but that's what the central banks and the rest of the world are doing themselves now. Look at what they're doing, not what they're saying. So again, it's not that the dollar disappears and is replaced by the yuan or the ruble. It's the dollar's being repriced. It's distrusted. It's not being replaced. It's just less trusted.
It's being inflated. Really, it's not a matter of trust.
Store value, which we clearly see Bitcoin, others, and Coinbase, etc., are not. And yet, despite this, Egon, there are many who still feel that the evidence, despite being overwhelmingly in favor of gold, that maybe gold has reached peak gold, that the price is now topped out, that to buy now would be
who
buying.
Who thinks that?
And that we're approaching that type of peak gold.
See, if you understand it, it's not even begun to get priced. We know it's COMEX, and we know JP Morgan's holding the price down. Why would we think this is near the high? It might be near the high for JP Morgan paper gold, but not for physical. We know physical's 10, 20,000 an ounce because we know it's been suppressed. So once it goes and the demand's just getting stronger, if you understand economics, you know that the more demand for something, the higher the price, which is why I bring up Rolex and Mickey Mantle. The higher, there's huge demand for Rolexes. They're 50, 60, 100 grand. Mantle gets 70 grand, 80 grand. The Jordan rookie's 500,000. The Montana's 125. So don't tell me gold peaked at 2,500. I mean, it's just a joke.
In your opinion, Egon, in our opinion, is that simply not the case?
Well, it's so easy to understand this for the ones of us who are studying history and understanding how governments without fail destroy the currency. And as they become more desperate, and we have now reached a level of maximum desperation, maybe not the peak yet, there's still to come. But if you look at you just look at the U.S. Increase in debt, as the example I just mentioned, going from when Trump took over 20 trillion and now 35 trillion. And a few years before Trump took over, it was 10 trillion. And 1980, when Reagan took over, it was getting up just to 1 trillion. Just look at it: 1 trillion, 10, 20, 35. It's exponential. And I've shown in many articles what happens to exponential moves. At the end, they grow really exponentially. And this is what we're going to see with the debt, and that's what we're going to see. Therefore, also with currencies reflecting that totally and going to go down in value very, very rapidly in the next few years. And don't worry about which one comes first at the bottom. If it's the dollar or the yen or the euro, whatever, it's irrelevant. They're all going down at more or less the same pace. And that pace is already at 9.
See, all the paper, it's the same thing. It's all being printed to death. Euro, pound, the yen, the yuan, the Swiss franc, the euro, and the dollar. They're all in the same boat. George Soros has taken over and printed them all to death on purpose because he wants them all to collapse, and he's getting what he wants. And does he own gold? I don't know. I don't know that he's that smart. He probably has Nazi gold because he's the Nazi. But that's the point of it. They're all going. So it's not like that was my first thought once I figured this out. I said, well, I should get out of dollars and what do I buy? Oh, I can buy Swiss franc. No, they're inflated. I can buy euros. No, they're still printed. And it led me into gold. So it was like doing a very good problem solve. Where do I go with my dollar? How do I get out of dollars? And all the money was the same: euros, Swiss francs, British pounds. I can't go to any of them, which led me to gold, which I know about anyway. But it wasn't my first thought, but it was the final thought. And the only real answer you could get was to go into gold and silver because they can't print the fucking thing. Therefore, they can't inflate it. Therefore, it will never lose its value. It's the gold standard, and that's why.
99 or 98% since 1971. And we're going to go down at least 100 or 99% from here. So therefore, people must understand that this is the time to really not just protect your profits, but you protect your money. As Mark Twain said, I'm not worried about the return on my money. I'm worried about the return of my money. And that's what people have to worry about now. Everybody's going to believe that we are going to buy the dips again. It's already started a bit. They are now going to lose their shirt if they do that, in my view. And therefore, it's also hold a certain percentage of your assets in the only asset and currency or money that has survived in history. Just whether that's, as our clients do, more than 20, more than 25, many hold a lot more than that. But whatever level you're doing is at, hold enough so that that can save you if other things drop dramatically, which I think they will do. So that's really the advice to people. And we're going to have difficult times. We're going to have socially difficult times. We're going to have economically difficult times. And therefore, as I always point out, friends and family is going to be more important than ever, because we want to help each other now, because we will have very, very hard time. On top of that, societies will be less safe also, and as we're seeing already. And the moves across the world, which is also historically happening. The same thing with migration, major people moving from one place to another, and therefore you have culture clashes, etc. That's going to build up to more problems in the next few years. And that's why, again, you've got to have a group of friends and family that look after each other. And as we said, hold a bit of gold, store it outside the banking system, and never worry about the value, because over time governments will do enough to destroy the currencies, and therefore make gold go to higher levels. I think, as I've said before, I think it'll go up by multiples because of what's happening in the world. But that's irrelevant. It's more important that you keep it as a wealth preservation asset, nothing else. Matt, final thoughts from you?
Well, so what he's saying is, you got 500,000, which is going to go to zero if you keep it in dollars, keep it in paper, euros, Swiss francs, British pounds, US dollars, the yen, the won, anything you want. So what he means by wealth preservation is, you don't want to lose your 500 grand, you buy gold and silver. You buy $500,000 worth of gold and silver, and your 500,000 is going to stay 500,000. If you keep it in the dollars, which they're printing to death, and he says it's lost 98.5% of its thing, and I say 100, because I don't think it's worth anything. You have that, and you can't lose, right? If I keep it in dollars, it goes to zero. If I put it in gold, not only does it not go to zero, not only does it stay 500,000, it's going to go up to be worth. It's not going to be 2,400. It's going to be 24,000. Then the kicker is everything gets repriced. So your Coke that's $2.99 in dollars goes to 10 cents in gold. That's the beauty of it. So Luke always asks me about buying the house. And I says, yeah, but the house is in this, 500,000 of this. I might be able to buy a house with this 1/10 of an ounce gold, because as I reprice the house into gold, the 500,000 might only be worth 10,000. And this will be worth 10,000, because you got to reprice your assets into the medium of exchange, which will be gold and not this. So 500,000 is the inflation, right? The value is printed, the value drops. It takes more dollars to buy the house because the dollars are going down. So now they say we need $500,000 of heavily inflated dollars for the house. And you're like, but if the dollars weren't heavy inflated, it would be a $25,000 house like it was in 1971. And if this is 2,000 now and it goes to 25,000, all of a sudden 1 ounce of gold is going to buy the house. And no, Luke, you don't need a mortgage. You're not going to need a mortgage if you have gold. That's the point of it. So not only are you going to save, you're not going to lose your 500,000 in dollars because you're going to put it in the gold. This is why I say put 100% in the gold, or gold and silver, right? And if you want a few Mahomes cards or Mantle cards, and if you want a Rolex or two, okay, that makes sense. If you can afford it. But gold, is going to shoot because it hasn't shot. Rolex has shot. Rolex, as I was showing you, Rolex is $100,000 Rolexes, $50,000 Rolexes. Okay, we got that. But gold's still sitting at 2,400, going to 25,000. People that don't understand that are people that don't understand the difference between paper gold and physical gold, and comex and derivatives and a free market. So the people that don't understand that, like Yankee Doodle Dandy and some of these other idiots, they don't get that it's derivative gold, not free market. Because in the free market, you're getting Rolex prices. Because Rolex is a free market, as is the Mantle cards and the Willie Mays card and the Jordan rookie, the Montana rookie. Those are free market. So how do you get 110,000 for a Montana card? And this is a whopping 2,400. And then the best part is, and seriously, this is what, $26, $27. I bought it for, I paid $29.50. So this is $27 for this. This is extremely limited, right? This is a very nice one, nice and shiny. Does this say, this is a 4 ounce. So this is 1 troy ounce and it's 4 nines. There on the bottom, 4 nines fine silver. And again, I'm buying an ounce of silver, so I don't really give a shit if it's a bullion versus a $1 silver coin, because I'm not buying, I don't want $1 for the coin. If I got the $1 silver coin, I got to pay it, I'm not buying it for the dollar, and I can't buy it for $1. So you're buying the ounce of silver, and this is just as good as buying the Liberty. And I have some Liberties, but lately, if I do buy silver, it's that. But I'd rather buy this for $277 than buy 10 ounces of silver, which would have cost me $290. I'd rather have this than the 10 ounces. And I was still able to buy 5 ounces. Why my credit cards are going up. But again, when you get depressed, you buy gold and silver and you feel better. And it's like, fuck them all. I know gold's going to go up, and, then I'll go retire and earn 20% on a beach with whatchamacall, with, what's his name? Oh, shit, come on. Hans Gruber. I knew I'd get it. But I thought of the other movie. It took me to think of the brother in Die Hard 3 to think of Hans Gruber, even though I could see Hans Gruber in 1. Okay, so that's this one, Egon, again. This came out today. So I like being current with Egon. But this I don't watch. It's 4 years ago. Prepare for hyperinflation and inevitable currency. So people will say, oh, you said that 4 years ago. Where is it? Well, it's happening, but nobody's really telling you. They're like, shh. That's why I think it's 100% gone. And that's why we buy gold as long as we can, because it's 100% gold. Let's see, the CCP. Let's look at this one. The time bomb lurking in all these cities. So this is basically the real estate's worthless because nobody's in it. Like here, this job, I was working remote. So you even need the office anymore. Just work remote because everything's on computers. So what's the difference if I'm sitting here on a Teams meeting or doing my job in Excel or whatever versus sitting in an office looking at their laptop doing the same thing? Oh, so people can say hi to me at the office? Well, can't they say hi to me here? So it's the same type of thing. It's just crazy. But I do feel there's something different going on. I don't know what it is, but I don't like it. I mean, I should have nailed this interview. I never heard where the boss needs permission from the team to hire me for a contract job. Contract means if it doesn't work out, you just kill the PO. So there's no risk. So what the fuck are you even bringing in the team to look at? If you can't, as you're the boss and you can't see my interview and you said it was a very good interview and you can't hire me off of that, you shouldn't be the boss, because a boss is a leader and the decision maker. So for the boss not to hire me, she's a weak boss. So I'm probably better off not working there if these people are going to be assholes and say, well, it wasn't a good fit. He's too smart. He's got his man. He worked at Mercedes and GM. Oh my God, we can't work with somebody like that. Anyway, it's just pathetic. All right, the time bomb lurking in all these cities.
Look at you, investing.
As new development, how much do you think you can buy this for? 13 cents. The snag is, it comes with at least $800 million of debt. It's the sort of thing that's happening a lot right now, and that's a big deal. Because a global property crisis can rapidly spread to the rest of the economy. Office buildings, hotels, and other commercial real estate projects around the world are going insolvent or being sold at knockdown prices. One investor has warned that the industry could face $1 trillion in losses.
This is the biggest real estate crisis since 2008. A lot of office space around the world is now redundant. There's too much of it. And that's why we're seeing such massive value declines.
There's a building in Manhattan owned by Blackstone.
So think about that. Too much. Well, so what is it? It's the supply is greater than the demand. So you built all these buildings, but the demand's died because people are working from home, but the supply is huge. So again, you have strong supply, but weak demand. So if supply is here, but demand's down here, you're in trouble. You need this to equal this, right? Supply equals demand, and then you're fine. But when you got supply here and demand down here, like electric cars, you're fucked because you've made more than you can, and the price is way too high, has to come down to market. But nobody wants an electric car. Nobody wants these buildings because I don't need it. My people can work from home.
Being marketed at a roughly 50% discount on the loan. Egon Center, the third tallest building in LA, sold in December for a 45% discount compared to what it sold for a decade earlier.
There's been Chinese developers run into trouble, and some of them have been threatened with the loss of their buildings as well. So this is happening around the world and will continue to happen.
So what exactly is going on? At the heart of all of this is how most commercial real estate projects are funded.
So a lot of these buildings are funded largely by debt.
In a game of Monopoly, you can't make money if a property has a mortgage. But in real life, landlords use rental income to pay for debt. If there are no renters and not enough money, then landlords have a problem. And the banks then loan them the money.
The knock-on consequence for the economy is job losses from those banks, less credit available, which means less investment into things like factories, warehouses, growing your business. And then in turn, potentially further job losses because instead of the economy growing, the economy starts slowing.
The roots of the 2008 financial crisis also lay in plunging property values.
A lot of banks were exposed to extremely risky lending for the subprime mortgages tied to residential housing mainly.
When a region goes into a recession,
this time it's more like the savings and loans crisis that hit the US in the 1980s and 1990s, where again, small regional banks or trusts advanced lots of money to real estate. Everything went wrong, loans soured, and in the end, they demolished a bunch of the properties. It saved more money than to actually try and find a buyer to buy them.
Some of the solutions to the 2008 crisis actually sowed the seeds of today's problems.
When the world was in financial meltdown, central banks decided that the best thing to do was cut interest rates to almost giving away free money to people. And the aim of that was to stimulate the economy.
It became harder to make money from bonds, so investors looked for other places to invest.
In many cases, what happened is that money went into alternative investments. So a lot of that money went into real estate.
At one point, WeWork was the largest private tenant in New York City, which says a lot. They were bigger than a lot of the major banks. And that just kind of showed the insane growth and capital that flowed into the space. Investors thought offices were such an attractive investment because they were betting on the fact that a lot of companies were growing, would be locked into these long-term leases, and rents would continue to rise for the foreseeable future.
As new developments sprung up, all that investment changed the face of cities around the world. But landlords weren't counting on what came next.
The World Health Organization has declared the coronavirus a global pandemic.
Offices just went completely dead and empty across major cities: New York, London, San Francisco, Toronto. Nobody knew how it would unfold or whether people would come back to the office. So landlords would work out agreements with their lenders called extend and pretend, where the idea is let's just extend the loan as it is and ignore any potential short-term valuations that might have fallen because of the pandemic.
The hope was that offices would be buzzing with employees again before the deals had to be renewed, but that hasn't happened.
U.S. office occupancy rates today are about half of what they were pre-pandemic. And while Asia and Europe are doing better than the U.S., they're still far below what it was.
Lenders in the US have $1 trillion of commercial real estate loans coming due this year.
If the landlords can't find the money, then it could.
The landlords can't find the money, the banks are fucked because the banks are counting on the landlords to pay them. So as I said, if Luke puts $1 million in my bank and I've lent it out to these commercial real estate and I'm giving him 3% and I'm getting 7%, but there's no business. So if they can't pay the back, I don't get the 7%. I can't pay Luke his 3%. Bye-bye bank. Luke's fucked. Everybody, I keep Luke's money because I say, well, I need it because I didn't get paid back from, I lent the guy $1 million for his building and he can't pay me back. That's where the banking crisis comes in. The people that can't pay the houses and the cars and the commercial real estate. So it was the houses before. Now this is the commercial real estate because of COVID and people working at home. Like my job, had I got it, I was going to work remote 4 days a week. So because I'm working 4 days a week from home, do you really need, do you really need the office? Probably not. So that was the big thing. And that's the problem. So I'm not sure what is going on, and so that's the problem. If they don't pay it back, then they can't pay the mortgage. They can't pay the banks. The banks go under because the banks are counting on these loans to pay off everybody who's put money in the bank, because that's how a bank works. Here's your 3%, Luke, and I make 7% and I make 4%. That's how a bank works. But if they don't get the money in, so it's like somebody working. If I don't get a paycheck, I just got bills. Eventually, I can't handle it. So, fortunately, I got Social Security coming in, which pays rent and food and everything else. But that's the problem. If you don't have money coming in, but you have money going out, you're in trouble. And that's what the government's doing. They got a $5 trillion debt, and then $500 trillion deficit, which means they're taking in $2 trillion in taxes and they're paying out $7 trillion. That's the deficit, and then that adds to the debt, and the debt at 36 million will never pay it off because you're not getting more revenue in than you're spending. So you got to cut your spending to equal your revenue, which they're not doing. So that's the big problem. So let's see.
Create massive losses for the banks. We're already starting to see that play out.
New York Community Bank Corp stock down 41%.
In early 2024, it started with New York Community Bank, which increased the amount of money it had to put aside to cover potential losses tied to the commercial real estate sector. And shortly after, Azora Bank in Japan also saw the same thing with its shares plunging because it was putting more money aside to cover losses tied to U.S. commercial real estate, especially offices.
We're going to talk, of course, about Azora because that was a huge plunge yesterday.
That happened in the Bank of Germany, Canada as well, where insurance firms and pension funds started to put aside more money or write down more losses tied to commercial real estate in the U.S.
These write-downs in the US are starting to have global impacts, and investors are reacting very aggressively when they see these losses being recognized. Share prices are plunging, bond prices are plunging.
Some of this was predictable.
So this is where the stock market crashes. So when I tell you the So the guy in China bought, the Empire State Building or whatever. And now all his tenants moved out. So now the banks are going to crash. And so what does the guy do? He pulls his money out, he sells it, and then for a loss, and then to recover his money, he sells his stocks. That's how the stock market's going to crash, because they'll need money. And so they go to where their money's at. They go to the banks to pull their money, and they go to the stock market to pull their money. And both get fucked. And will the banks and stock market let them take the money? If they do, that's why Warren Buffett lost. What did he do? 67 or $75 billion, whatever. I mean, that's why he needed money, right? Now maybe he'll sit there and say, "Yeah, I needed the money, and so I'm going to sell my stocks for the money." So he sold his stocks to cover some debts that he had, because he's an idiot and he didn't buy gold. And this is why you buy gold. See, gold, you don't worry about the market. You don't worry about the banks. You don't worry about anything. You got your money in gold, and you're fine. And nothing can happen to this. You can't go down, because the derivatives might knock it down a little, but the buyers, the central banks are buying it, need it. And so until the comex runs out, they'll still do it. But then when they do it, China says, "Oh, good, I need more gold, because there's not much gold out there." So I don't know how much more comex can do it, because they need gold. I think they're out, but they're getting it from the UK or Canada. But we'll see. But it's probably getting close to the end, I would think. And I think October is when Russia and China say, "Fuck it, I want a higher gold price for my gold-backed BRICS currency." So it's supposed to be happening in October. We'll see. It was supposed to happen in April. It didn't, but we know it's going to happen, because why does China have so much gold? And Russia and India and Saudi Arabia, they have, I don't know, 60,000 tons, 25, 30, 10,000 each. That's over 100,000 of the 250,000 tons between those four countries, at South Africa, at all the BRICS countries who are getting out of the dollar, and all the central banks. And you're probably very close to the full 350,000 tons, and that's it. Then we get to secondhand, and now the price really explodes. All right.
Interest rates.
Tim, can you briefly describe the heart behind Nehemiah?
I think it'd be something to the extent of why we love.
Are we asking too much to expect gold's price to respond dramatically?
As new developments sprung up, all that investment changed the face of cities around the world. But landlords weren't counting on what came next.
The World Health Organization has declared the coronavirus a global pandemic.
Sorry, I think I moved it back a little bit.
Offices just went completely dead and empty across major cities: New York, London, San Francisco, Toronto. Nobody knew how it would unfold or whether people would come back to the office. So landlords would work out agreements with their lenders called extend and pretend, where the idea is, let's just extend the loan as it is and ignore any potential short-term valuations that might have fallen because of the pandemic.
The hope was that offices would be buzzing with employees again before the deals had to be renewed, but that hasn't happened.
U.S. office occupancy rates today are about half of what they were pre-pandemic. And while Asia and Europe are doing better than the U.S., they're still far below what it was.
Lenders in the US have $1 trillion of commercial real estate loans coming due this year.
If the landlords can't find the money, then it could create massive losses for the banks. We're already starting to see that play out.
New York Community Bank Corp. Stock down 41%.
In early 2024, it started with New York Community Bank, which increased the amount of money it had to put aside to cover potential losses tied to the commercial real estate sector. And shortly after, Azora Bank in Japan also saw the same thing, with its shares plunging because it was putting more money aside to cover losses tied to U.S. commercial real estate, especially offices.
We're going to talk, of course, about Azora, because that was a huge plunge yesterday.
That happened in the Bank of Germany, Canada as well, where insurance firms and pension funds started to put aside more money or write down more losses tied to commercial real estate. in the US.
These write-downs in the US are starting to have global impacts, and investors are reacting very aggressively when they see these losses being recognized. Share prices are plunging, bond prices are plunging.
Some of this was predictable. Low interest rates can create risks.
People at the Federal Reserve have been worried for at least 8 years about commercial real estate and the threat of a bubble. But in a way, it is the acceptable byproduct of the larger picture, which is to try and cure the economic woes from the financial crisis. Nothing really was done to prevent commercial real estate prices soaring.
It's going to put a lot of stress on the owners of these properties. The banking agencies are very focused in helping the banks.
What will really allow more owners and lenders to skate through this crisis is if interest rates start to come down more to a level that is more manageable.
If that doesn't happen, and the economy in the US in particular still seems to be running quite hot, there's no really easy solution. The financial stability system seems quite secure at the moment. One of the reasons for that is lenders demanded larger down payments from borrowers, which means they have more protection.
But things could still go badly wrong. If a few banks have too much of this debt, they could go under. And when banks start going under, a panic could ensue that sparks a wider financial crisis.
So this is the problem we have. So this helps us understand what's going on. But you see, you really got to know how does a bank work. And you think, well, if people don't pay their car payments, doesn't affect me. It affects the bank where you're at, and they're going to not want to go under. So they're going to take your money and say, you know what? Yeah, I know you got 500 grand in here, but we need it. And so that ends up where that's how you get screwed. Again, nobody can come and take this. They can only, if the money's here at home, you're fine, or in a safe place, but not at a safety deposit box at a bank. But if you've got this in the bank can say, we want it. If you got this in stocks, the E-Trade or JP Morgan or whoever can say, we want it because it's not yours. But you don't know it's not yours. So I'm telling you, it's not yours. It's theirs. So this is the only protection from all of that bullshit. To get out of the system, get off the boat, get into the lifeboat, get off the Titanic. So we see the ice, we see the water coming in. That's where we're at right now. We see the water coming in, and we know logically the only thing that can happen is the boat sinks. So we see that. So therefore, if the boat's sinking, then we know to get out of it into this. But this boat doesn't sink because you can't sink it because you can't print it. This sinks because you keep printing it, making it worth nothing. This, however, can't sink. This is the lifeboat. This can't sink because you can't print it. See, they keep saying, well, gold's been around for 5,000 years. Well, so is carats, but they're not worth anything. But the reason gold has been around and still value is they can't print it. So nobody seems to get that logical conclusion of why gold's so valuable and why it never goes away and why the governments never want it to be really pricey. But now we're going to see it, I think, with BRICS, you're going to see a much higher gold price. If it gets out of the government's hands and into a free market, it's really going to take off. But you know you're going to be safe. You know, if you took your 500,000 and put it in the gold, you can't lose your 500,000. You will lose your 500,000 in dollars, either by the value going to zero, or the bank's not letting you have it, or the bank's limiting you to $5,000 per day. Well, fuck, I got 500,000. It's going to take me 10 years to get it out of there. Those are the problems with the cash until they don't have value, which is very soon. So your money doesn't have, your banks could take your money and the money could lose all its value anyway. But if you, so this is what I don't get. If you have it in gold, I told the barbecue guy, I said, just put it in the gold. And then if you need money, you switch it to dollars. But you don't understand. See, this is always what cracks me up. I don't know what I'm talking about, right? Well, why should I listen to you, Howard? You know, well, because I'm telling you what's happening. So he like put the money in the gold. And then if you need it, you can switch it back. That's an easy thing. But if you don't, the money's going to go to zero. It's not will it. It's not if. It will. When it happens, it's going to go to the dollar's going to go to zero. That's not an opinion. That's not a guess. That's a fact. So your only out is the gold and silver, and why you don't want to do it, I don't know. And why you don't want to listen to me, I really don't know. Who are you? You're just a kid. Who are you? You don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, okay. I didn't see the guy on the bicycle today, where he's got all his money in his 401k or pension or whatever, in his mutual fund. You know, I'm waiting to see him. Yeah, you still feeling really comfortable about your money and it'll be fine. Yeah. It's only propped up for the election. And then once the election happens, you're going to see their shit really hit the fan. That'll be it. So we're in big trouble, probably November or maybe after Christmas or New Year's or something. And then you're talking, hey, Lucas, I heard that the Treasury through BlackRock's exchange stabilization fund is buying stocks. Well, because they can't make it look like they're in trouble. So are they getting out of fucking with the gold, with the ETFs, and now into the stocks? Buyer of last resort, keeping the market exactly, because 99% of the people have no idea what we're talking about. So therefore, if they just look at the market and it's at 40,000, they think the economy's good. Oh, I'll leave my money in the bank. I'll leave my money in the stock market. Look, it's okay. So I was at the store today and I got 1/10 of an ounce. And then I got 5 little piggies here, 5 of my 5 silvers. Yeah, I like showing the buffalo. So I got 5 of these. And I got this one. 1/10 of an ounce, but it was this and the Canadian. This is the Eagle, and the Canadian were the same price for some reason. So I took if it's the same price, I'm buying the Eagle. If I'm saving $20, I'm buying the Maple Leaf. But yeah, you can see that's what's happening. As soon as so why did it sell? And then they're trying to blame Japanese raise their interest rates. Well, why would I sell my stocks if Japan raised their interest rates? What does that have to do with Amazon and Apple and those? So it makes no sense. So what? We're going to keep printing money to buy these stocks, and then what happens? Oh, that's why your money goes to zero. So FYI, I did not get that job. I was misled. Terrible communication. My recruiter went out was on vacation, so this other idiot takes over, one of these millennial idiots, and he calls me Monday, and like I said, I got the job. When I'll start in 2 weeks. This is my salary. Oh no, you don't have the job yet. Let's interview with the staff, with the team. And it was a real weird interview. Let's go through your resume. Why can't you read my resume? I should have just said, well, I worked at GM and Ford and Mercedes. So the rest, who cares? But I really wasn't prepared. I thought I had the job, so I come in with the job, and I didn't get it. Then last night they determined not to hire me for God knows what. I'm not a good fit. So the 2 controllers and the financial analyst interviewed me for a total of 25 minutes and can determine that I'm not a good fit. The boss, see, this is where I have a problem with the boss. A good boss would have hired me. She liked me, right? That's why I thought I had the job. Friday, I interviewed with the boss. She liked me. She wanted to hire me. But let's see what the team does. Well, that's not a leader. If you're a leader, okay, Mercedes and Harley, when I got the jobs, I only met with the boss and they liked me. They hired me. There wasn't, I need the team to make the determination. And what could the team possibly know? Do I know SQL? I go, well, I've never really used SQL, but I've used other query. I know what a query is, and I've used other. So a query is basically you have red, yellow, and green in a big data set, and the query is give me all the green out of this table. That's a query. Like, oh my God, it's so difficult. I mean, what the fuck was going on? Plus, you don't really use SQL in finance. I would pull the data. So I go into SAP, I'd get the data, I'd get the ledger, and I bring it into SAP, and then I bring it into Excel. And then in Excel, I would do a pivot table or sort it or filter it. And then I'd get the information and then use that to link it and everything else. So basically, I was doing queries, but I did them in Excel because finance doesn't use SQL, but IT does. Okay, fine. Well, I never said I was an IT person. I got a master's in finance, not IT. So why would they think that? So I'm just shocked I didn't get it. I was really frustrated. I think it's because I said to the boss, oh, thank you so much for hiring me. I'm excited. I look forward to joining your team. And she looked at me like I was nuts because the idiot told me on Monday that, we're okay. Well, we'll get the job. And, yeah, she's agreed on the $55 an hour. And, and I'm thinking that's it, and it's work from home 4 days a week. And, I'm absolutely shocked. And that shows you how bad management is when management can't make up their own mind and have to, well, I got to listen to the three guys who don't know you at all, who are going to talk to you for 25 minutes to go through your resume. And, oh, you've never worked with, well, I'm afraid he won't fit because he's never worked with SQL. Well, yeah, but I've done query. I know what a query is. So I thought it was really bad. I'm really frustrated. So I went and bought my gold and silver today to cheer myself up. So instead of eating chocolate, I'm buying gold and silver. Nice. My gold ounce showed up today. Oh, good, Luke. That's BS. Sorry to hear. Not meant to be that. Well, my answer is that's their loss, not mine. I'm pissed, but if this is the way they run their thing, that the boss isn't in charge, I'm glad I don't work there because I would, hate to have four bosses and the whole thing. And I've tried to get into DT before, and they've been really weird. They'd have these little quizzes, and you're like, what the fuck? So, I thought when I had to interview with the three people for the job, but I didn't know, and I was blindsided. I kind of said, I don't know if I want to work here anyway. And then trying to get a hold of my recruiter, she's on vacation. So I'm like, what happened? I want to talk to you. And she hasn't called me. And I'm like pissed off. Like this other guy fucked me over. He didn't say you didn't have the job. He kind of inferred that I got it and here's your pay and you'll start in 2 weeks. All right. Yeah. Team interviews now are being used. I agree. Stupid. Let the boss make the call. She's the boss. That's the point is. I don't mind the team interview. Had I known I didn't have the job, I wouldn't have saw the boss and said, oh, thank you for hiring me. And then she's freaked out. Had I known, well, this is step 2, like at Toyota, I had a team interview and I was fine with it. I knew it was an interview. This I thought was meet the team. So I thought this was just the team meeting me and saying hello. It was like a meet and greet. Yeah, I'm Howard. I'm like, can't you read my fucking resume? It says I worked at GM and Ford and Mercedes and Harley and I got a master's and this is the things. And no, I haven't worked on SQL, which is on my resume, is not one of my softwares. Because I looked at it, I go, do I have it on my software? No. Well, then why are you interviewing me if that's that I got to know SQL? And I said I went on YouTube to learn it, and that's all it is green, red, yellow, and blue in the data set. And the query is, in this table, give me the green. I mean, that's how simple it is. And I've done 1,000 of those on Excel. So it's like turning on a TV. Well, I haven't used RCA before, but I've used Panasonic. Oh, well, sorry, you haven't used RCA. I can't hire you. You won't know how to turn on an RCA. I mean, that's about how stupid it is. So I don't know. It's very frustrating. And really, it's not really because I wanted to work. It's because I wanted to buy more gold. That's why I want a job now. It's to buy the gold. I'm not looking for a career. My career is over. My career is here. This is my career, and this is the fruits of my labor. Is this and this? This is my fruits, right? So I'm not really looking to be CFO of that. I just assume buy another 100 ounces of gold and being a millionaire when it starts going through the roof, which is going to happen soon. But the fact it was a team interview didn't bother me at all. He says, let's go through the resume, and I should have just been brief about it. Well, let's say I worked at GM and Ford. I kind of went step by step, and I told them, well, AAA I didn't really like because I was trying to be an actuary, but it wasn't good training. That stuff I never say in the interview. I always go, well, Harley, I did this, and then I was 4 years at Mercedes. I don't even talk about that stupid tool house one. I go 4 years at Mercedes. I start bringing up examples, and by then they're happy. They're like, okay, fine. They can see GM and Ford. So that's what I normally do. So I didn't do that. I don't know if that cost me, but it was more or less I hadn't used SQL, which of course not. Why would I have? It's not a finance tool. It's an IT tool. All right. So you're happy with gold today. $24.24. This is as of 4 o'clock. It's 5. Okay, let me refresh. $24.27. Up 42. Why did it go down 42? Derivatives. Why is it up 42? Derivatives. I hate when people try to explain it. It's derivatives. Eddie Murphy bought the derivative at 23.93. Notice we notice we didn't get an 8 o'clock drop, a 6 o'clock drop. We had a very small like 9:30 drop, and we never had a big drop today. So the derivative's going up. So again, it's 24.26. This is why I tell you not to worry. This is the same bullshit going up as it is going down. This has got nothing to do with that. There's no data. There's no people are buying gold. We know the central banks are buying it, but this is not the accurate price. Silver 27.53. Here's my price tag. So I got So I got 5 ounces of silver, 29.50, and 1 ounce of the 1/10 was 277. And his gold and his Maple Leaf and Eagle were both 277. So it was a no-brainer to take the Eagle. If it's the same, I'm buying the Eagle. But if I save $20, which I've been saving on it, I'd get the Maple Leaf because it's 1/10 of an ounce of gold. It doesn't matter. Silver 27.53. So again, it's just being kept down so people don't run through gold. But again, this is all bullshit derivatives. This isn't a free market. This is a communist government running the market, which means the banks, JP Morgan running the government, running the banks. They're the ones price fixing the gold, not the free market. So with BRICS, we should get to a free market. and all will be fine. And anyway, so that's what we're waiting for. We know the dollar's 98.5% gone, so it's. I played an Egon video before, so watch that one. I kind of go in and explain it, but it's basically you got money in it. It's good. The money's going to be worthless, all of it. Euro, British pound, Swiss franc. It's all being inflated. It's all losing 98.5% of its value. So basically, if you hold 500,000 in dollars, it'll go to zero. But if you take the 500,000 out now and buy gold with it, you'll always have 500,000. It'll be in gold, and then if you need, you just sell it for whatever the dollar is going to be. And that's how you go to the grocery store and to the dinners, is using your gold and exchanging it for whatever the medium of exchange is. So, Luke, on your house, I had a really good explanation. We were watching this other video on commercial real estate and things. So here's what you're going to do on your house. Right now, your house costs you $500,000 you want to buy in this shit. And I'm telling you, 1 ounce of this is going to total that. Why? Because a house is 500,000 in this, but not 500,000 in this. Right? So keep in mind, if the house is valued in this, it'd probably be 25,000. Right? It wouldn't be 500,000. It's 500,000 in inflated dollars, but not 500,000 in gold. So you're going to get a new price, right? I showed you that yesterday with Zimbabwe, the ZIG versus the other. The other was 30,000. A dollar bought you 30,000 Zimbabwe dollars, but it's down to 9 now. $1 buys you 9 ZIGs. So if it's a $30,000 house, you're buying it for 9 ZIGs. Pretty good. So as you realize, as the prices come down into a gold price, that's the biggest factor why you'll buy it with 1 or 2 ounces, because it's not 500,000 of this, it's 500,000 of this crap. So when you get rid of this crap, and now we reprice the house in this, 2 ounces should buy you that 500,000, because it's going to come down to now a solid unit of measure, a fixed gold coin. And therefore, and that's where your 2 ounces are going to come, because the price is going to come soaring down to a gold price. So that's why your 2 ounces should buy the house. No mortgage. Stop worrying about that. But if you don't sell your gold stocks and your minor stocks, you ain't going to have any money to get the mortgage with anyway. So that's why I heavily advise you out of it, because as Egon said today, if you get a chance to watch Egon, well, let me look for it.
Welcome, everyone, to another chat.
So you'll like this part I get to. Let's see. He really nails it when he says all the currencies are gone, 99.5%. Let's see. One second. Now let's go to the 7.
Gold, held its own far better than other asset classes. Why do you think gold is still not so obvious to the rest of the world? Because as we speak, it's still less than 1% of global allocations to physical gold. And to me, the case is more and more obvious. What's your take on why gold isn't just clear and convincing at this point?
People are idiots.
For me, Matt, having entered the gold market in a major way for ourselves and our investors that we advised at the time, in 2002, we started really investing heavily into gold. It's been obvious all along. It's such an easy equation. We know that throughout history, central banks and governments have destroyed the currency, and every single currency has gone to zero. So, and now when debt levels are more elevated than ever in history, it was obvious that gold was going to be the best instrument to protect against that risk long term. Now, gold doesn't move up in a straight line, and we've seen big moves to 2011, and then we see consolidation for 5, 6, 7 years, and now the next move has started only because global debt is now at a level which is unprecedented in the world. The U.S. debt now is, for example, 35 trillion. It wasn't many years ago when Trump took over. It was 20 trillion when Trump took over as president. Now it's 35. It's growing exponentially, and with the deficits that we're seeing in the U.S. and in many other countries, and including Japan, of course, as we just discussed, and China, enormous debt. It's obvious that this is now going to accelerate because U.S. Deficits are forecast to increase dramatically, and that doesn't take into account all the risks within the banking system and within the financial system and within the corporate system. So I think the money printing will be much bigger than anybody expects. And therefore, also, I think long-term interest rates are in an uptrend, although there might be a short-term cut by the Fed, panic cut, or not. Well, let's see. So all of these factors point to gold just reflecting the destruction of the money. Now, the forces also that are into gold, and I think you'll talk more about that later, one of them, which is obviously very, very important, is how central banks are converting their reserve assets from dollars to gold. So we are not just going to see gold reflect the continued debasement of the dollar and all the other currencies. We are also going to see gold as an investment enhancing with enhanced returns by actually performing better than just the destruction of paper money. And remember, there's no gold in the world. There's only 3,000 to 3,500 tons mined every year. And if you take China and central banks buying just in the last year, they bought for 3,000 tons. So, which means that there's not enough for the rest of the world. And the rest of the world is going to, coming back to your question, it's going to discover gold now in a major way because there's nowhere to run. And I've put out some tweets this week showing that I expect the NASDAQ to go down 95% against gold in the next few years because you have a tech bubble and you have gold being unloved and undervalued and nobody owns gold, nobody. But there will be a shift into gold. And it doesn't have to be a major shift at all for gold to move because of the major shortages of gold in relation to the demand that we will see. And those shortages.
So what did he just say about your stocks, Luke? He just said they're going down 95% versus gold. So please get out of your stocks and stop worrying about a mortgage because you want to have so much money in stocks. You're not going to have money in stocks. So like I told the guy at the barbecue place, just get the fuck out of money, buy your gold. And if you need it, you have the gold. So if you try to get a mortgage and you can't use the 2 ounces of gold to buy it, then that's it. But if you have it in money, it'll be gone. or it'll be worthless. And stop playing the game of timing. Well, it won't happen now. You just heard them. It's gone. The NASDAQ and all the stock markets they're going to go down. They're going to lose 95% of its value. And then we know the only reason you just said why it went up today was now it's in BlackRock's BlackRock again. Everybody's in BlackRock, which means they're in George Soros. George Soros is controlling BlackRock, not Larry Fink. Just like the kid who shot Trump, it wasn't him, it was George Soros. He gets the blame. Oh, you shot Trump and he gets killed, but it wasn't him. It was George Soros who was the orchestra. He was the head coach, let's say. So that's what you got to understand. So the market is going to collapse because it's all debt. These stocks aren't going to hit. Everybody's in 5 stocks. Does that make any sense? And nobody's in your gold and silver stocks. Believe me, I'm in the gold and silver stocks until now. I am not in any stock because I can see the boat is sinking and all the paper is going down to the bottom of the Atlantic. So all of this is going bye-bye. This is why I say buy gold. You want to get off the Titanic. This is the Titanic. Anything in paper, stocks, bonds, banks, money, get the fuck out. It's all going to go to the bottom of the Atlantic. And your only out is this. I mean, I can't buy it. At worst case, I can go back to the store tomorrow, say, here's the thing, and he'll give me back whatever, 270. Maybe he gives me back 250 because of spot, whatever. Okay, fine. That's fine. I lose $20. I don't care. That's fine, because down the road, when gold hits 10,000, I'm going to get 2,500 for this that I paid 277 for. So that's how I look at when I buy my stuff. Is not what I bought it. It's going out forward. Like I said, I'm 5 steps ahead of the game. So I'm after the boat sinks, right? That's what I'm looking at. So that's what you need to understand. So that's why I get the hell out of stocks. Don't buy on the dips. And right now it's just for the election and it's going to crash. See, what they're trying to hold it on is, oh no, then when Trump takes office, if he wins in November, it's Trump's fault the market collapsed. No, it's what's happening now is crashing the market. It's 35 trillion in debt that's crashing the market. Not if Trump takes over. So this is the point of it. And I don't know that Trump knows what he's doing in economics either. I don't know what he has in gold. He should be talking gold-backed currency, but he doesn't. If he just talked that, if I was running for president and I didn't do anything and I didn't run commercials and I just said, I ran one commercial, we're going to a gold-backed currency. We're coming back with gold. Free trade, gold, no income tax. That's all I would say, and I'd win in a landslide. Stop with the fucking around of, Kamala Harris did this. And I can't stand it anymore on YouTube. Every fucking commercial is Kamala Harris. I got to keep muting it because I want to throw up. I mean, she's insane, and I don't know how much better Trump is, except for he's better than Kamala Harris or Biden. So that's where we're at with it. But anyway, that's the point. The stocks are going down, and gold's going through the roof. So Egon must be listening because he kept saying, well, it's the dollar going down, making gold go up. Now he's starting to realize, the professor's right. It is not only gold. It's not only the dollar going down, but gold's actually going to go up because of the pent-up demand that's going to jump into gold. That's why it's going to 30, 40,000 an ounce. Because as people who are in this start realizing they're fucked, they got to get out of this because this has no value. The only safe haven lifeboat is gold and silver. So now everybody moves in, but as Luke, it's like your brother selling Ohio State tickets. There isn't enough supply for the demand, right? So if all these people want gold and there's nothing left to buy, the price goes up because I'm not selling now. I paid $270 for this. Oh, you want to give me $2,700? Yeah, I'll sell it to you, but not at 27. And the same thing with this. Okay, I paid $29 for it. I'm not going to give it to you for 35. Now, if we start talking 500 an ounce, yeah, I could probably part with a few ounces, not a lot, because I'm waiting for silver to go to 2,000. And that's why I destroy like Yankee Doodle Dandy guy, because it'll never hit 100 in my lifetime. Well, you're an idiot. You don't understand bricks, and you don't understand JP Morgan price fixing it. It's not a free market price. You don't get it, and you don't get that the dollar's going out. And don't say not in your lifetime, because then you look like an idiot. So that's where I get at these guys, because they're giving out bad information, and I won't stand for it. I do not give out bad information. So at worst case, just sell your, if you need money, you sell your gold, but don't hold your stocks to buy a house that you're going to buy with 3 ounces of gold. Because once the house gets valued in gold, it's not 500,000 anymore. Let's say it's 50,000. And by the way, the price of gold goes to 25,000. So as gold goes up, the price of your house comes down to 50,000. And now the gold's 25,000. 2 ounces of gold buys your house, because the house is not 500,000. It's 500,000 in this worthless toilet paper, not 500,000 in this. That's the key point that I finally kind of figured out. The gold stocks go up more percentage when the paper spot price goes higher. Did you hear what I said with Egon, or do you want me to replay it? The market's going to go down 90 to 95%. So whatever's left of your gold price it'll be worth $5. So you keep kind of, you're not fully understanding that the market's going to crash. Everything's going to crash. Not your gold stocks aren't going to go up when the market's going down 90%. Right? That's what you just said, right? The market's going down 90%. Did you see that or not? But I just played it from Egon. I can play it again.
Can only be reflected in price, i.e. the price will go up not by marginal amounts, but by factors of 2, 3, 4, 5 or more times. And that's what I expect in the next few years. So and that will be starting now. And don't believe that this little pause in stock markets and the gold and silver mean anything. This trend is going to continue strongly down asset markets, up precious metals. But there are other factors also, Matt, that you're seeing that will affect this. Let's just hear your view on those.
Well, they're very similar to yours, and it's interesting.
Central banks buying just in the last year, they bought for 3,000 tons. So, which means that there's not enough for the rest of the world. And the rest of the world is going to, coming back to your question, it's going to discover gold now in a major way, because there's nowhere to run. I mean, I put out some tweets this week showing that I expect the NASDAQ to go down 95% against gold in the next few years.
So the NASDAQ's going to go 95% down. Okay, I'll explain it again, Luke. The house of a $500,000 house is priced in toilet paper. This. If you priced it in gold, it would be not 500,000. It might be 50, 60,000, because it's in sound money. This is worthless. This is heavily inflated. So as the price gets lower, and then as gold goes up to, let's say, 25,000. So this is my example. Gold goes up to 25,000 an ounce. The house in gold price, not in the fiat bullshit inflated price, goes to 50,000. 2 ounces of gold buys your house. I don't know what you're talking about. 83 coins to the jewelry store. I don't think he would be writing me a check for 200,000. He would do that. But what I'm talking about is when the gold goes up and it's now 20,000, 25,000, and your house is now priced in gold, not at the stupid but inflated gold. So this is 500,000 in this, not in gold. And so when your gold goes up, the house value will go down, and you'll only need 2 ounces of gold, and that's how you buy the house. So you're fighting me on it, which I appreciate, but that's what's going to happen. The prices. So in 1971, a Pepsi was a dime. In this crap, now it costs you $2.50 for the same can of Pepsi. Why? Because this dollar's been so inflated. As like a house was 25,000 in 1971, which is basically a gold price. Now it's 500,000 because the dollar is worthless. The house was 25,000 in 1971. Let's say we go back to that price, and now your ounce of gold is 25,000. You can take 1 ounce of gold to buy the house that goes from 500,000 to 25,000 in gold. Like I was using the example of the ZiG, the Zimbabwe dollar. The Zimbabwe regular dollar was $1 bought you 30,000 Zimbabwe regular dollars. In the ZiG, the gold back, $1 buys you 9. It's 30,000 to 9 if you have the gold back currency. That's what I'm talking about. So you can see the house will come down dramatically, and your gold goes up to 25,000. Fuck, you can probably use a Rolex to buy it. You give them one of your Rolexes worth 60, 70,000, and the house is 50,000. You probably take that. You might have to sell it, but you could basically use the Rolex. Any of these real assets, you can take the Mantle card, you can take the Montana, the Jordan rookie, the Brady rookie. I mean, they'll all be worth a fortune because this is collapsed. This is zero. And the price will reflect the new gold back price, right? Like in Zimbabwe, now it's 9 to 1. It was 30,000 to 1. That's the big difference, right? That's what you got to understand. The price will be adjusted for gold, not because right now it keeps going up because they keep printing the dollar, which makes it worthless, which means that the prices go up because the dollar are worth less. And that's all you need. I saw it. So you think an ounce of gold will be, no, I didn't say 250,000. I said 25,000. So you're going to see deflation in the currency. Deflation, and no, the currency doesn't deflate. It only inflates. There's no such thing as deflation. You printed the money, you've inflated it. Unless you're going to burn a bunch of dollars, you're not. There's no such thing as deflation. The price goes down. So what I'm saying is gold goes to 25,000, not 250. The value of the house is 500,000 and this, but this goes to zero. This is gone. What's the value of the house? Well, we're going to reprice it in gold. It'll be 50,000. So 50,000 in gold will buy the house. And by the way, the ounce of gold goes to about 25,000, and that's conservative. And without dollar, it might be a lot higher. But let's just say the dollar's gone, it hits zero, the gold goes through the roof, and the housing value comes down to a gold value, not a paper. So because of inflation, and they print it, this is worth nothing. So it takes 500,000 of these to buy the house. But if you replace it with a gold backed currency or gold, you don't need 500,000 because the gold will equal the currency. And so it'll drop to $50,000 in gold. Gold at 25,000 an ounce, 2 ounces will buy you the house because the price of the house is not 500,000. It's only in this toilet paper we're looking at. So we're going back to a gold currency then. Well, that's our only option. And it will readjust prices like back in the 60s. Well, that's the only way. Well, this is gone. Okay. So, the house is now 500,000 of this crap. And this goes to zero. Now what's the house worth? Well, you can't use this. This is the argument for credit cards and mortgages and everything. You can't use this because this is gone. How do I value the house? The only thing I have, gold. What are you going to do? Come out with US dollar 2? Well, it better be backed by gold or it'll be the same as US dollar number 1, which is what the Russians and the Venezuelans and the Zimbabweans and the Argentinas, And Greece and all these other countries are doing. They're just coming out with another, version 2, which is worthless anyway. So that's what you really understand, is that there's a regular price and a gold price. Like I said, the Zimbabwe dollar is $30,000. $1 buys 30, but in the gold back ZIG, it's 9. It goes from 30,000 down to 9, and that's all you need is, a few of those, and you buy the house, and the house gets valued in gold back currency. You'll watch it with BRICS. You'll see what the housing prices in India and China and Russia will, as they come out with the gold back currency, will just drop to nothing. Right? I'll be able to buy a nice house for two of these will buy me a nice house in Russia, or maybe the 5 of these will buy me the house in Russia. I'm getting it. I like it. How soon? Tomorrow. Well, that's the thing. Let's shoot for October when the BRICS comes out with the gold back currency. Let's make sure they do. They're supposed to. We heard that for April, but it's coming. And hopefully in October, if Mark McGuire is right, we'll hear him tomorrow say about it. And then we will go from there. But once that happens, the dollar say bye-bye, and our gold goes way, way up. And that's really the point of it. So everybody's so worried. Well, if you have gold, everything gets repriced in gold, gets taken down to a normal price, not the inflated price. And we'll be doing all right. A couple ounces of gold and we'll be kings. So that's really the point. That's the other point of having it. So you're getting out of the dollar before this goes to zero, which is why I'm screaming at you to get out of your stocks. You can still have the gold, right? So get out of your stocks and buy this. And if you're worried about a mortgage, okay, let's say you actually do a mortgage, but you're going to buy it with this. You're then, okay, I'll sell a little bit of gold and put it back into my bank or something and worry that I can get it out and use that for your mortgage collateral, whatever you're using it for. And I don't know if there'll be mortgages when it goes gold. There'll be mortgages if we have a gold backed currency. Let's look at what happens in BRICS. Will there be mortgages? Because if you got gold, the houses will be priced in gold, and I don't know if you'll need a mortgage anymore. You need a mortgage because this. So, like I say, in 1971 it was 25,000, but nobody had 25,000. Now it's 500,000 for the same house. So, if all of a sudden you have a gold coin and it's worth the 25,000 from there, and now it's worth this, do you need a mortgage? No. Here it is. I got this ounce of gold, and I'll give you for the house. He takes it and you're all set. So you won't need mortgages. And with gold, you don't really need interest rates because you're not worried about inflation. Interest rates are because of the inflation. Well, I need to raise interest rates because I'm not going to get paid. So if I loan you 100,000, I got to charge you 10% because the 100,000 you pay me back over, let's say 5 years, it's like Bobby's contract. It's not worth 100,000. You're going to pay me back 100,000 of inflated dollars because these idiots keep printing it. So I'm going to need $110,000 to get my $100,000 back from you, which is what I'm telling Bobby. You got fucked on your contract because the $1 million you got in 2000, let's say, and now you get $1 million this year. This year's million versus let's say you started in 2000, $1 million, and now we're in 2024. The million now is worth about 200,000 versus the million back then. Whoever told them to take this long term, fucked them, is an idiot. You should always take the money up front because of the losing the value. And then I told him, and I think he said that. He said, the Mets don't like me because I asked to get paid in gold. And I don't know why the Mets refused. What's the difference if you give them $1 million? Well, I guess that's why they don't. Well, I want to give you $1 million of junk. I don't want to give you $1 million in gold. So what I advise Bobby is take that $1 million and go buy gold with it. I mean, as much as you can. But that's what it is. So how soon? Let's play it by ear. Right now it's coming, and then we go to October, and there's a meeting in, I think, St. Pete again or somewhere in Russia in September where they talk about it, and then it'll be on the agenda in October, and they'll probably say, okay, let's go to a gold-backed currency. China is waiting for us to announce the recession, which is why we don't announce it. Because as soon as China hears there's a recession, you see what's happening in China with my videos. The banks are collapsing, the real estate's collapsing, the housing market's collapsing, the stock market's ridiculous. So, and the people can't get jobs, and they're all unemployed, and they don't want to pay into their Social Security, and they're all having a rough time. If they got money in the bank, they can only draw out $150 a day. It's that China's going broke, but they got the ace in the hole. They got the gold. That's what's going to save China. And they know that, and that's why they're kind of being coy about it. Well, you leave us no choice but to go to the gold-backed currency, and bye-bye, U.S., you're fucked, which is what's going to happen. So on one hand, I didn't get the job yesterday, but on the other hand, I got the gold, so I'll get the last laugh. But it is frustrating me. So, yeah, let's look at October, and we'll see Mark McGuire tomorrow, and he's on his own, so he'll get into BRICS and COMEX and gold-backed currency. Like last time, he went into it 5 times. Gold-backed currency in October, gold in Russia in October. So that's where we're at with it. But that's what you have with Egon. So it's a good show. This is a brand new one. I don't like the Matt guy doesn't know what he's talking. He just talks. He's like the Riddler. He talks, and you're like, what is he saying? And all he does is regurgitate what Egon says. Oh yeah, Egon, the banks are going to collapse, and the dollar's going down, and gold's where. Yeah, that's what Egon just said. What do you bring to the show? Nothing. He doesn't bring anything. So I usually fast forward that guy, or if he does a solo, I don't listen to him. I don't know why Egon keeps bringing him up, because the more he's on with Egon, the dumber he looks. Anyway, baseball one more time. I think we got a half hour. Yankees over 8.5, 3 units. Cincinnati, 2 units. Baltimore over 9, 3 units. St. Louis over 8, 2 units. And Philadelphia over 9, 3 units. And I had Washington earlier this morning because I knew it was like at 12:30 and I wasn't going to be around. So that's what we have. And we'll see. So DTE came out of the blue last week. They submitted me. She interviewed me. Then they submitted me. Then the manager interviewed me. And then shocked by this team. And then the team having the power to veto me is just insanity. Like I said, at Harley and at Mercedes, and I think at GM, the managers interviewed me and hired me right there. It was like, okay, the next day I had the job. If the manager was satisfied, why do I need the team? And I think that's why I don't like DTE. It's a really weird environment there. And why does the team decide for the boss? Because they must have really weak bosses, right? She didn't want me. She's out of her fucking mind. Was it the 4 years at Mercedes or the GM and Ford that made you think I couldn't do the job or I wasn't a good fit, or the fact that I work in finance and you want me to do SQL queries, which my fucking daughter could do when she was 10. I mean, it just pisses me off. Anyway, I'll get over it just like I got over the other ones. And if football goes okay and the trust goes okay and the gold goes okay, I'm retired anyway. So that's why I keep buying gold. And Luke asked me, how much do you want? There is no how much. It's more. Do I need this 5 ounces of silver? I got 620 now. And I got 625. Do I have enough? I have no idea. I have a lot of this. Now I added 1/10 of an ounce. Is it enough? No. I mean, if I got the job, I was going to go buy 2 or 3 ounces today because I have money in the safe, but I don't want to break into it as long as because I don't want to get to the end and then I need to sell my gold. So I'm should be okay holding off on it until October. And then if gold's 3,500 an ounce and I have to sell an ounce, fine. So I'd rather sell the ounce for 3,500 than 2,400. That's my point, is waiting to sell it down the road. So that's why I gave Jenna a little, but she's like, I said, well, if I get the job, I can buy gold. And she says, well, for you, I only have a coin. And I'm like, well, Jenna, I gave you got about 3 ounces I've given you. So I'd give her a 1/2 ounce when we meet, or and then some silver. And what do you want me to do? Give you 10 ounces? And then what are you going to do with it? So let me hold it and control it, but I'm giving you a little in case you need it. Anyway, I had a good talk with Daria yesterday. I really laid it out on the line. I says, are you with somebody else, or what the fuck are you doing? Or if you don't love me, just let me know, and I'm going to move on. I mean, I don't want. And she started about 2:00. I'm in the locker room after swim, and she, oh no, I love you. No, it's problems with my daughter and school, and I need money, and and she's chatting again. I said, fine, it doesn't bother me. That's how we met. I don't have a problem with it. And she keeps, oh, I love you. And I says, look, you can share with me this, that your daughter's having problems with school. Maybe I could help her if she speaks English. Like, stop fighting me, so in other words, she's upset that her daughter needs to take some classes over, but she won't tell me that. So she's upset, so she doesn't want to talk to me. Doesn't want to talk to anybody, not me. And I said, well, just talk to me. I can help you, but then I get mad that you don't talk to me instead of just telling me what's going on. So this is the 3rd or 4th time where she hasn't talked to me because it's been these problems that she's not used to having, like a boyfriend who works with her as part of her team. So she's probably had some Russian guys before. She's divorced. She's probably had some Russian guys who she told, and they said, I don't give a shit about your kid or you or your problems. I got my own problems. So that's why she probably doesn't feel comfortable telling me. And I keep saying, I'm not Russian, I'm American. And if you have problems, they're my problems, and I'll help you. And I don't think she's comfortable with that yet. And that's why we got to meet, so we can talk about all this shit. And she can realize when we meet that I'm very nice like I am here. And then she can understand. And that's why we need to meet. So I don't know if she's scared to meet or what. She does want to meet, I'm sure of that. And it's just a matter of time. We'll probably meet Thanksgiving or Christmas, although I'd like to meet now. But that's me being a little bitch going, I want to meet you already. What are we waiting for? So anyway, we got football coming up, so that'll be my job, football, and waiting for our gold to go up. And maybe I'm retired. Maybe I won't work again because these people are too fucking strange to work for anyway. All these millennials who, oh, he might take my job. Oh, we can't hire. He's older. We can't hire him. He's not a good fit. He's older. Fuck you guys. So anyway, that's where I'm at with it. So I was kind of pissed today. The guy found out at 8:00 last night, and so I didn't hear from him. So I called him about noon on the way to the pool. Oh yeah, I found out at 8. I meant to call you this morning, but I didn't. So basically, if I didn't call you, you weren't gonna. I would have to wait a week and then say, okay, what did we get? And it was a no. And he didn't want to tell me no, I guess. If I ever meet this guy, I'm gonna beat the hell out of him. He fucked it up with the thinking I had it and then not having it and the whole thing. So I don't think I want to work with these idiots again. If they give me a call back, I'm gonna tell them to fuck off. Because they cost themselves money because they get percentage of what I make. So if I make 55 an hour, they're getting like 100 an hour and giving me 55 of it. So they're losing all this money because I didn't get it because they're fucking idiots. Anyway, so getting that out of my system. Anyway, so good luck on baseball. Football preseason, we went over. There's really the only team maybe you bet Atlanta, because Penix will probably play. Maybe we'll see about Bo Nix in Denver. I don't think Daniels is playing. And then New England, are they going to play Drake May? But I don't think he's that good. Minnesota, it doesn't matter. McCarthy's terrible. So I don't know that helps him. But a lot of stupid GMs don't know what they're doing. And as you can see, a lot of businesses don't know what they're doing either. Anyway, so that's it. Anything else, Luke? Luke with his house soon. But yeah, get the hell out of the stock market, please. You can always buy gold and you can always just sell the gold. I mean, you can always, believe me, these gold stores are going to love if you bring it in to sell because they're not going to have any. As the price zooms up, so the price hits 3,000, all these idiots are selling their gold at 2,300, 2,400. How much do they have left? So when it hits 3,000, are they going to bring it in? And if he didn't have it, he had a lot less today. He had 2 Krugerrand ounces. He had 4 half ounces. He had a couple of quarter ounces, and then he had 5 or 6 tenth of an ounces. But he didn't have any eagles, any 1 ounce eagles to buy. So but it's an ebb and flow thing. It's been forever. Well, because you're going back, but since you met me, it's now gone from 1,700 to 2,400. So I'm doing something. But yeah, silver's the forever because they're still on the old COMEX derivative bullshit where gold's kind of getting off of it. And the central banks are buying gold, not silver. And the solar panel people are buying the silver and the electric cars, but I wonder how much they're going to be. So they're the ones buying the silver, but the banks are buying the gold, and the tier 1 and the Basel III are forcing the gold to get out. And when the gold's gone, they can't do the derivatives because they got to be able to take delivery, and they want to have gold to deliver. So, and I don't know how much more they're going to do it. I mean, they do the derivative, and then it gets bought back up, and then you get a day like today was all up. So what, so every time it goes to 2480, you're going to knock it down. And how much gold do you have left to do it with? But silver, they still can play the ring around the rosy, rinse and wash, whatever the fuck that means, game. So that's why silver is going to take a lot longer, but we don't care. Because it will be in gold, we'll be making a lot of money in gold versus the silver. Silver will be there, but I'm not buying silver to barter at a fucking grocery store. No, I don't need that. Everything needs to be priced in silver. So you just keep using your credit cards. And then, as you said, I hope that they just go to zero because the dollar will be gone. So I can't pay the credit card. If I owe $100, but there is no more dollars, how do I pay your credit card? Oh, we'll come out with this new dollar and we'll convert. I don't know. So we'll see. The banks will want their money, but will the banks be available to get the money? Will they still be in business? What if I need a house in 2 years? That's up to you. I mean, gold should be much higher in 2 years. Let's say, so scenario 1, the dollar's still around. It's lost 99.75% of its value. And the house is $1 million of fiat wallpaper. Gold should be much higher. Still take your mortgage out and do it then the way you would do it now. And when it goes out, the house goes to zero and then gets revalued in gold prices. So, you can buy it in 2 years this way. I mean, you can buy it now, but it's pointless. Let the housing market crash first, and then we'll talk. So it's going to crash soon. I'm going to cash in 85 gold coins for $200,000. No, you're not. Hey. By then, the gold will be much more valuable, and it won't be a $200,000 down payment. So better, it's what your brother's going to do with these tickets priced in dollars. How's he going to get paid for? Your brother should take gold for like the Ohio State Michigan game. He should say, he's converted and say, I want 3 ounces of gold, 7,500, or 2 ounces of gold for the tickets, not dollars. He should ask for gold, and he would get it. People who can spend $5,000 on a football game could get gold and then give it to him. That's what I would do. But you don't need. Why do you need 85 gold coins for $200 down payment? I mean, at 3,000 an ounce, you need 70 ounces is 210,000. But why would you trade them in? I don't know. I assume you're joking, but yeah, it doesn't. The gold price goes up, and the house is going to come down. So your 200,000 will be the cost of the house, and you'll need about 10 coins, not even, to cover that, and that won't be a down payment. So that's where you'll be at. Anyway, what else? 6:30, 3 hours again. I'm so tired. No wonder I'm so tired. All right. I guess that's it. No Bobby today. You got some exhibition football today, and then tomorrow and this weekend. You got baseball we've given you. Gold had a good day, and it still goes. It goes all the way until Friday. Then it ends at 6. But that's what's happening. So good luck on that. Stay stoic so you don't get frustrated. Like me, I got to stay stoic so I don't get too frustrated over having the job and then not having it. What the fuck? I never seen a dumber recruiter than I just met. Anyway, anything else? All right. So we'll talk football over the weekend. College Saturday, pro Sunday. We're a few weeks away. August 24th is the Florida State Georgia Tech game and the SMU Nevada. That'll be our start. And then the next week gets into all the good games. And then pros are Labor Day. We can see how good Caleb is. We can see Caleb throw 4 interceptions against Tennessee. Anyway, that's good. So Mike Vrabel is the defensive coach of Cleveland. Yeah, Cleveland's going to be very strong. They just need a quarterback. Although if they play Thompson Robinson, they'll be fine. Anyway, I think that's about it. So it is nobody liked the video. I hate when they do that. Well, can you like and subscribe? I'm not going to tell you to like and subscribe. If you want to, you like and subscribe. If you don't like and subscribe. But anyway, so that's what's going on. Have a wonderful night. I will talk to you tomorrow, Friday. Probably get to the pool a little bit earlier. And then if it's a normal day, I'm there by 11:30, and then probably go to lunch tomorrow because it's Friday, and then do our show about 2:30. I might get Chinese tomorrow. What the fuck? I didn't get it Saturday. I got barbecue, so I'm switching off. All right, everybody. Well, have a good night. Any more questions, comments, anything? The 10 foods not to eat. I went through it yesterday. Just a summary. The worst is pop, is cola, and then energy drinks is terrible for you, and then margarine's a no. Have butter, and then sweet and low, aspartame. Those things are no. Fried foods, no. Wheat bread in general is a no. Sugar, of course. Liquor is a no. So just stay away from those foods. So basically, eat a lot of steaks and hamburgers and chicken, and eat a lot of salads and a little bit of fruit, not too sweet, and you're fine. So no candy, no chips, no sugar, no high fructose corn syrup. So you stay away from most of the salad dressings and most of the Miracle Whips, and barbecue sauce and ketchup are terrible for you. So what I do is I make my own. Instead of ketchup, I have French dressing from Ken's. It's not high fructose corn syrup, and that's I cook with it, and then I put it on my steak, and it's like instead of my barbecue sauce, because the barbecue sauce is so sweet. When I go to Boneyard to get my ribs, the fucking barbecue, my feet hurt when I walk out, because if you put the sauce, it's like eating this much sugar. Thank you, Luke. You have a good one too. I drink vodka every day. Well, that's good. I'm if you're still walking, then that's a good thing. Don't smoke either. I don't smoke. I don't drink. That's why these Russian women have their problems. They both have high blood pressure, Daria and Jenna. And I know Jenna smokes and then she drinks. And I know Daria's doesn't drink anymore. She used to, but she does smoke. And then they wonder why they have high blood pressure. And I love how they blame it on the rain. Jenna, well, I had high blood pressure, but it was the rain. And I'm going, I've never had high blood pressure because of the rain, but I don't smoke. Anyway, that's what's funny with them. I smoke too, but only when I drink the vodka. Oh, okay. So you're real. So will you be here in 2 years? Will you be around long enough to see the gold go up and buy the house? Well, good luck, Luke. All right. Well, have a good night, everybody, and enjoy your night. Relax, and have a good dinner. Eat steaks and fish and chicken. All right. Have a nice night, everybody. Take care.